Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Britton's Hanging Hour episode 170. And today I have on Steve Stark, who I've been wanting to have on for a while, and now we finally have gotten this together. How you doing, Steve? We were kind of talking about it before we got on here, but how you doing, Steve?
Doing well, mate. Yourself?
I'm doing pretty good, honestly. I'm doing pretty good. He wrote books like A Hot Dose of Hell and Violent Ends, I think it's what it's called. I haven't
That's
read
right.
that one yet.
Oh, over this side.
Um, I did read A Hot Dose of Hell last year, and I liked it. I don't want to talk about it too much today because I would love to have you on again, perhaps, maybe in
Okay.
October or somewhere, talk about it because it is kind of a spooky book. But I'll probably ask you about it a little bit because didn't you? I think you told me as well that you're having something new come out, or am I mistaken?
That's right. Probably by the time this comes out, it'll be out already. Yeah, it's kind of a gangland set slasher revenge story. Um, you'd almost call it like the long good Friday the 13th.
You know what's funny? We were on that show with Aaron talking about crime movies, and I thought
Yeah.
like I thought you and John were gonna take all the and Aaron were gonna take all the popular ones, and like then we were like, oh well, they didn't talk about No Country for Old Men or The Long Good Friday, and I feel kind of bad now. I didn't think of them,
It
but it's all good. It was a fun episode to make.
was a good one. Yeah, I enjoyed that one a lot.
But your style, I would say, is kind of interesting because it's not really one. I was talking about this with John when I had him on this very show. There's not a lot of like in self pub or indie like crime novels. So I mean, I'm sure they exist. I know they exist. I've seen some other
Yeah.
people like my friend Sebastian Weiss. I just recently read his book, Driver, which is it is self pub, but he does have his own. He has his own publishing imprint. But anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah, that exists, and there's like Muscle and your book is like kind of or at least this one that I've read is kind of a mix between like crime and a horror novel.
Yeah.
I kind of described it to some friends as if like Irvine Welsh wrote a horror novel. Which I haven't. I've only
Nice.
read Train Spotting and Filth. So
Yeah.
so you could. So
I
maybe you
take that
could.
as a compliment.
So maybe you could argue that he maybe has written horror novels. I just haven't read them yet. But
I don't think he has. I think it's close. Maybe The Blade Artist is a little bit of a horror, but it's probably closer to a thriller. That's a
mm,
good one. I recommend that. That's it's in the Train Spotting series,
mm.
and it's about Begbie and
Oh,
what his life is like after the events of Train Spotting. He sort of accidentally becomes a celebrity artist and gets let out of prison, and he learns how to control his anger, and that makes him a lot more dangerous.
mm.
And he's living in LA, and he gets pulled back home. I think if I remember rightly, it's because his brother died, and it's very Get Carter. If you put Begbie and Get Carter, that's what you've got there.
Yeah. No. I that's all right. Yeah. I know of it. I have it on my to read list on
Yeah,
um Goodreads. But kind of again, I don't want to. I mean, I'm sure we'll bring up John a couple times because I know you're a big admirer of his book, Muscle. But I kind of think
that's
of.
the old edition. That there is a new cover for that.
Oh,
I've
there
got the
is.
original.
Oh well.
Yeah, yeah. The original's got the wrapped fist, and it's got blood all over it. It's very cool, very striking cover. But
Yeah, I did mention how I kind of think that noir and horror can go very well together. I mean, I talked
yeah,
about Seven and the conversation we had with Aaron. And also like I don't have you seen True Detective at least season 1? Have you seen True Detective?
yeah. I watched the second season as well, but yeah, the first season was very good. I like that a lot.
Yeah, which I is also kind of a combination of horror and I mean I think even like Dennis Lehane is very good at that when
Oh yeah,
you know
yeah. There's some really creepy moments in some of his stories that very much border on horror.
or James Ellroy. Black Dahlia is basically a crime. It is basically a horror
Yeah,
story as well as
yeah, yeah.
or it has horror parts in it anyway.
What
But
was the one? You've probably read this one. I can't remember the name of it now off the top of my head. The one where they were after a killer called the Wolverine. That was
Oh,
a
that's the
James
big
Ellroy one.
nowhere. Yeah.
The Big Nowhere. Yeah, yeah. That was a good one as well.
Yeah.
So that was a very very horror inspired sort of killer. I thought.
Yeah, no, that's also a good one. I I but yeah, my point being, I think horror and noir can go very well together. I think you've kind of tapped into that, at least with a hot dose of hell. I don't know what Violent Ends is like because I haven't read it yet.
Yeah,
But
sure. Well, Violent Ends has got that similar tone. It's got three different stories. The first
mm-hmm,
one is very much like it's a short story. The first one, about 30, 40 pages, and it's kind of like a taster
mm-hmm,
sort of thing to give you an idea of like my style and the sort of the way the world is. And it's about a serial killer stalking a victim.
mm-hmm,
It's kind of just like I say, like it gives you a sense of my style and the kind of the world you're going to be operating in. But if you've read Hot Dose, there is a little treat in there for you as well. And then the other two stories, they feel very much in that world. There's the second one is set in a nightclub. It's not so much crime, but it's that kind of the nightlife, the nightlife sort of world. And then the third one is about criminals again. It's about a bunch of home invaders.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm generally working between the two, bringing the sort of horror theme into the crime stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of the things that I really liked about A Hot Dose of Hell anyway that I read. I liked how it was visceral at points.
Mm,
I kind of like the bait and switch as well. I kind of joked it's kind of like, it kind of starts out as kind of this like train spotting thing, and then it turns to like 28 days later. So you're getting
yeah,
two Danny Boyle movies in one. So it's quite nice.
yeah.
um,
Well, I like that. I like the best horror stories. I always think they kind of ground you in reality before they introduce the horror element. So you buy into that world. So everything else feels real. So when the horror comes in, it's not quite so jarring. Whereas if everything feels a little bit fake, it doesn't work for me. So I like to make it very gritty and very believable before you bring that in. So the only thing that you have to accept that's out of the ordinary really is the sort of fantastic horror element.
yeah, like the drug that turns people into rage zombies, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. Which I took some inspiration from real life a little bit. There's some horrific drugs out there.
Yeah, I mean, I
Um,
thought of like bath salts. Heard of bath
yeah,
salts?
yeah. Is that similar to we had it over here where it was so-called legal highs, and it was yeah, shops were selling um products that were they were advertising them as plant food,
Oh no.
but they were really designer drugs.
Oh
And
no.
they were exploiting a legal loophole to be able to do this. And these things, basically, they couldn't classify them as illegal fast enough. As soon as the government were like, right, this combination of ingredients is illegal, they just changed one ingredient.
Hmm.
So they just kept going, and this stuff was really cheap, and it was legal to go and buy. So people were just going and getting it. And all kinds of people. It caused a real problem over here. It was
Oh well.
like a really cheap high, but it was really also a potent high. It got worse sort of later on towards the end before they finally clamped down on it all. So it made me think of that because I worked dealing with a lot of addicts at the time. I was working security, daytime security, and
Mm.
a lot of what you had to handle was addicts. And the place I worked in was also a pharmacy, so I saw them sort of coming
Oh,
and going.
you need security at a pharmacy? Well, I guess that makes sense. There are a lot of addicts who probably try
Yeah,
to
they
raid
they
a.
they got well. It was a pharmacy that was inside a big department store,
Oh,
so
okay.
horrible combination. And basically, they'd be coming in to get their medication. They'd be coming in to use the needle exchange, and then at the same time, they'd be walking past like electronic goods or
Oh
expensive
boy.
perfume and stuff like that. So they'd either be kicking off at the pharmacy because they couldn't have their meds, or they'd be nicking stuff, and you'd be having to stop them. So I got to know them all quite well. And I got to sort of hear a lot about what was going on with them, and I observed this issue with the legal highs firsthand because
Mm-hmm.
lots of them disappeared suddenly for a while. It was like very quiet, and it's because they weren't having to steal as much to
Mm-hmm.
get what they needed. But when they did show up, when this thing sort of clamped down, when they did sort of start showing up again, they were in terrible states. They were much worse than I'd seen them before. Only a few months prior. So it was partly inspired by that, and partly inspired by. Have you heard of Crocodile? Have you heard of that?
Is that
It's
a
it's
movie?
a really it's a really horrific drug again, and
Oh
it's
no, I've
one
never
that
heard of this
actually
then.
it rots the flesh. It rots the flesh off
Oh,
the users, and they look like zombies. It's
oh,
horrific.
oh,
Yeah. So I kind of put those couple things together.
oh. No, I've
And I
never
can't
heard
say
of
what
that.
else inspired me. Yeah, it's nasty. It's nasty. You look up. I was just picked up a newspaper one day and was sort of flicking through, and these pictures were in there. I was like, Jesus, horrific, horrific stuff.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
it's a horror show in the news today.
yeah, yeah, it always is, isn't it?
Yeah, no, but yeah, no, I've heard a lot of people compare you to Clive Barker, which I haven't read a lot
Hmm,
of Clive Barker. I've only read The Hellbound Heart, which of course was turned into Hellraiser. But I did
yeah,
notice you have that same kind of visceral style. Maybe not as kinky as he likes to get, but definitely visceral.
yeah.
Um, at least sometimes. There was that one part in the book where they meet this big dude who's like trying to catch a bird. I'm like, where'd you come up with that? That's crazy.
Again, that's reality, mate. I'm
Yeah,
afraid.
there's really like big dudes trying to
The guy's
kill
trying to
birds and
catch the
just eat them
pigeon.
like an
Yeah,
animal. Just damn,
trying to
that's
catch him with the
crazy.
pigeon. No, that really happened. That was happening up the street from where I was working. There were a pack of homeless guys, and they were trying to catch pigeons with tarp, and they were killing them and eating them on the street.
Yo, that's crazy,
So
dude.
I just put that in the story. Like so many of these things are informed by stuff I either heard, secondhand, or actually from the person who did it, or even witnessed it in some cases. Um, Another one was the maggots in the leg, if you remember that bit.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
heard of situations like that's how they used to heal people in medieval times. Or
yeah.
I don't know if you play video games, but there was the Telltale Game of Thrones game that they had, and one of the ways they healed the guy because he had a cut on his leg, they put like maggots in there to clean it out. It was like,
Right.
oh man, that's gnarly as hell.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's yeah, but yeah, you have a. I'm saying what I'm trying to say is you have a very visceral style that I appreciate.
Well, thank you, mate.
When it's done well. Was it done badly? Anyway, I hope you get what I mean. Hopefully,
Yeah. Yeah. Some people linger too much on the details, I think, and I try to make it just enough so everything flows, doesn't slow down. I've read some sort of extreme or splatterpunk authors, and you're like several pages describing one specific wounding or something like that. This is going on a bit. You need to keep things moving.
yeah, no, it's funny. I was watching a video the other day from a guy called Man Carrying Thing, and he was talking about some disturbing books that he was reading. I think
All
one of
right.
them was called Cows. I think is what it was called. It was by a guy called Matthew Stocco. I knew that.
Right.
But apparently he was kind of reading. He was going like, "Well, I started it, and it just got ridiculous with how disgusting and violent it was." It's kind of
Yeah.
like,
I mean, that's a skill to be able to do that and
that's
make something
true.
so disgusting, but sometimes it's not the best read.
Yeah, no. Have you ever read Crossed?
Oh, the Garth Ennis. Funnily
Yeah.
enough, I was talking about Garth Ennis earlier. Yeah, I read Crossed. Yeah, didn't really like it.
Yeah,
I thought it went too far and it was a bit too nihilistic. It was like Walking Dead's not depressing and depraved enough. Let's make it worse.
yeah.
I
I
think that's
kind of.
what he
It's
was
kind of
trying to do.
like 28. It's kind of like 28 days later, except like cranked up to 11 somehow. Which
Yeah,
I thought 28 days
yeah,
later was pretty intense, but damn,
yeah,
pretty gnarly.
yeah. I do like Garth Ennis a lot though. Um, I liked his Punisher run, the
Oh yeah.
Max Punisher
Hmm.
run, brilliant. And I really liked Hitman. Did you read that?
I haven't read that one yet. I want to.
Uh, it's just fun. It's kind of like what he would later do to an extreme degree in The Boys. Is kind of in more of a much more fun, light-hearted way in Hitman.
Yeah, I'll have to. I do want to read that because I've heard people say it's one of his like best. So there you go.
Yeah,
I'd love to. I'd
yeah.
love to. So, but yeah, no, yeah, but yeah, I mean, I have a place for kind of visceral kind of stories, I guess.
Yeah.
I'd say your stories are quite visceral, not quite as Garth Ennis level, but
Well,
you
I don't have the artwork to back me up, do I?
that's
It's
true.
red.
That's true.
You
No,
don't know what some artists could have made of my stuff, really.
yeah, but kind of going back to my initial point, like there's not really a lot of I mean, I'm sure you showed me a guy called AB Patterson the other day.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I actually
I've got them
messaged
here
him to
actually.
invite him on the show. I haven't heard back from him yet, but I definitely would like to check out his
Yeah, I've got
books
maybe
though.
here. This is a great one. Short stories about his character Harry Kenmare. He's a kind of shady PI, but he's also a good guy, really. And it's yeah, very recommended. It's very funny, but it's thrilling and it's well researched as well. Like AB was a copper himself. He
Mm,
was a ex vice detective, I believe,
mm. Oh, I bet he has some
and
stories.
yeah, exactly. He's obviously channeling a lot of that in there. All of that knowledge is going in there, so it makes it very very interesting read, very entertaining.
It's like you with bodyguarding or whatever you call that. I don't is that a good term for it? I don't know.
Oh well, the security work.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
security work.
yeah, yeah.
Is it technically bodyguard, or were you just like a security guy? Like, you know?
Yeah, like so I was doing like nightclub security.
Oh
So
yeah.
like a bouncer.
Mm-hmm.
And I was usually running the places that I was in as well
Mm.
quite a bit. So at one time I was looking after sort of three different sites at the same
Oh.
time. So yeah, did all right at that. Yeah, did
Um.
that for a long time. But it's very volatile. It's very insecure kind of industry at that time as well. Like, I don't know if it's the same in the US, but like clubs and pubs all started closing, and people were always looking for cheaper contracts and things like that. So you'd find yourself moving around quite a lot if that was your main job, which is what I had to do, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was gonna say. It was funny. I was talking with my dad last night about uh this. I'm like, yeah, a lot of people. I mean, I'm sure it's different in the UK because I know like pubbing culture is a big thing over. Not, I mean, not just in the UK, just in Europe in general.
Yeah,
But like, yeah, in America, like, not so much anymore. Either that, or I didn't know a lot of people who drink a lot. Like, I don't drink a lot. Like, I'm just, like,
yeah. I mean,
not for
I'm
like
not a drinker
moral
myself.
reasons or
I just
anything. It's just kind of like I just don't care for it.
no.
I mean, I'll
I
drink
think I think
alcohol
that's the same.
sometimes, sure.
I think it's the same here, mate. I think over here it has died off massively.
Oh wow, really?
And it used to be the culture was very much built around it. You worked your 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and then you went out on the town all weekend. It was very much built around it. And I lived at the other end of the spectrum. I didn't have to work all week, and then I would work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I get to chill out the rest of the week.
That must
So
that must have been fun, or as well as
yeah.
just. I mean, I'm working at a radio station right now, so that's also
Oh,
where
cool.
I'm kind of just sitting around a lot of the time because it's very part time, so they'll give you stuff.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be working tomorrow. Mainly sports stuff, but anyway. But yeah, that must have been fun though. I don't.
yeah, yeah. It was good. It was a good lifestyle for while we could have it. I don't think it exists in that way anymore. But yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, I know Muscle is about a bouncer. Would you
Yes,
say it was like a good? Would you say it was a good what's the term? A good depiction of that.
absolutely. Yeah. I knew people very much like the main character, Frank Collins.
Mm,
Um, and I can totally relate to what Frank goes through in that story and the kind of the situation that he's in at times as well. There's you get stuff like that. You get your average person, you chuck them out, and it's kind of you're not going to see them again. Or if you are, they're going to be all apologies. But
mm.
you get some people with a bit of a reputation and all the rest of it, and it becomes a feud.
Oh no.
And that's kind of yeah, that's kind of where it goes, and you like, oh, so and so's going to get you and this kind of stuff, and it becomes a bit of a thing, and it has to be sort of settled one way or another. And that's what that book Muscle is about. Is Frank has upset the local drug dealer because he won't allow him to ply his trade in his club. So the
Hmm.
local drug dealer wants to have it out with him basically. And should Frank lose this sort of no holds barred fight, then he's going to lose his club. He's going to lose everything.
Yeah, isn't it like a fight to the death? If again, I
A
haven't
fight
read it yet.
till, a fight till, yeah. It's, I mean, it was a real thing that used to happen sometimes to settle disputes, and it's a fight until the other person can't get up anymore.
Oh, okay.
Not necessarily to the death, but it could result in death quite easily. I mean, people can die from just being punched.
That's true. Yeah,
It, that happened a few times in my hometown. I remember that. Get people would wind up and crack someone who wasn't looking. That person would fall out cold and smash their head on the floor and they'd be gone. It's really scary.
yeah.
So
I was watching Joe Rogan the other day,
yeah,
which I know that's such like a typical like 20s guy thing to do. But I was
I've
watching Joe
watched him for
Rogan.
years.
But one of the things like Joe Rogan is like kind of good at, he's like in the mixed martial arts. He talks
Yeah.
about boxing and stuff, and we were watching stuff where like a dude like died in the ring. So I mean so you're right,
Oh,
it definitely happens.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And you think that's a professionally trained fighter who's prepared and is ready for the person coming at him, and he's got some degree of protection in that he's got the gloves, he's got the referee there, the
Mm.
canvas has got a bit of spring in it, and all the rest of it, and still, compared to your average person who isn't looking, who's drunk, and they're surrounded by concrete, and there's no referee, and there's no one looking out for him. It's
Oh, but
scary times.
I'm looking forward to it because again, one of my goals this year is to read a lot of crime novels because I'm a big fan of the genre, obviously.
Yeah,
More like the kind of noir, kind of grittier, kind of stuff you and like John write more than like
yeah, sure.
like Agatha Christie, which nothing against that. I think Murder on the Orient Express is great, but yeah, I just
It's very
find that
polite, isn't it?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's
oh
less
yeah,
relatable.
such
Yeah.
it's like those stereotypes about British people, and they're just like, oh yes,
Oh
that's
yeah.
drink
Yeah,
some
yeah.
tea.
Yeah, it's a very certain kind of British person that the rest of us don't relate to. But unfortunately, that's the kind of British person that controls all the media. So that's what everyone thinks we are. But yeah, we're not that at all. And you must have noticed the difference in accents all over Britain that doesn't really get depicted.
Yeah, that's another thing I liked about your book. I liked the vernacular of the characters, which
Yeah,
again kind of remind me a little bit of Irvine Welsh,
yeah.
though not as intense because you have to kind of speak Irvine Welsh's stuff out loud to really understand it
Oh
sometimes.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm a bit kinder. I'll put it in there, just a little bit of dialogue from the character, and hopefully you can understand from context what it's saying.
Yeah, no, I thank God I saw Train Spotting the movie before the book because I've read the book. I'm like, yeah, what is this?
Yeah.
No, um,
You've literally got to become Scottish in your head
pretty
to read
much,
Train
yeah.
Spotting, I think.
Yeah, like yeah, and they're dropping the C bomb everywhere. It's crazy. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's like one of your favorite words over there in the UK.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, and it's used in so many different ways, depending on the tone, depends on the meaning. It can be really affectionate. It can be really friendly, you know. I'm not going to say it now, but yeah, it can just be someone saying, "All right, yeah, just to say hello." Yeah, your best mate might greet you that way. But it can also be said with real venom, and
Yeah,
so it's all about tone.
yeah, no, it's funny. I'm just like, damn, dude. I was talking to another friend of mine. He's from the UK, and he's like, yeah, they like the word haggis as well. And I'm like, oh, really? Oh, okay. Or they like haggis. I don't remember. I'll have to text him again.
Yeah, haggis up in Scotland is a thing. Yeah, it's you get it in the chip shops up there, the fish and chip shops.
Oh yeah,
You don't really see much of it down my way. I'm right down south.
but yeah, no, but yeah, it's again kind of going back to me and John were talking about this a little bit, which again I'll try not to bring up John too much. Which shout out to
No, no, it's
John.
okay.
Which shout out to John, by the
Absolutely.
way. He's a great guy.
Yeah, yeah. No,
But we were kind of talking about how like noir crime is kind of like a type of horror in and of itself. I think you do that well in the book I've read anyway. I don't know. Again, I'm gonna say it again. I haven't read Violent Ends yet.
you'll have to check it out, mate.
Which
I think you especially like the one I'm working on at the
which by
moment.
the way, is that a reference to Shakespeare by any means?
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. I'm like,
Yeah.
it had to be, but which is also funny because
Delusions of class there, mate.
what's kind of funny about that is like Shakespeare wrote for like working class people, and like I mean
Yeah,
the rich people were up in the stands, but mainly like the main audience were like a bunch of working class drunk people.
yeah, yeah. I think that's it. It's a real skill, isn't it, to be able to play to different crowds.
Hmm.
And I think the establishment at the moment have completely lost that ability. I think they're making stuff purely for themselves and their friends.
Yeah, they like pass it out and go like, here you go, here's this
Yeah,
here's this book, read it.
yeah.
I'm really glad that indie kind of self publishing has become like such a big thing. It's
Mm,
taken more seriously now because
yeah,
I find that a lot of I mean there's good stuff that's being published traditionally, but it's I don't want to say it's few and far between because I'm really bad at keeping up with which should probably tell you a lot honestly. But
yeah.
I'm just really bad at keeping up with stuff in general. But India's been really interesting. I've been slowly kind of dipping my toes into that field.
Yeah, I myself, I pretty much exclusively read indie
Mhm.
or older stuff that I find, used paperbacks and stuff. I don't read a lot of new books. If it's technically a new book, it's only a reissue of something old.
Mhm.
I just can't find any good new stuff really.
Yeah, it's yeah, no, I I actually nabbed the second Parker book the other day because I was hoping
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I
Yeah,
kind of happened upon that and I was like,
the man with the getaway face.
yeah, I'm like, gotta pick that up
Yeah,
because of I'll admit Parker could be kind of hard to find, like at least at the
really.
local bookshops where I'm at.
Yeah,
They have the Hunter. They have the Hunter everywhere. So, and I've already read
yeah,
the Hunter. So, I mean, I'm good there. But,
yeah.
um, it's so funny because I got Jim Thompson. I read The Killer Inside Me a few years ago, and I got it off of Amazon. I pay my tithe to the Amazon people.
Yeah.
And then, of course, at the local bookshop I have now, they have The Killer Inside Me. I'm just like, this is ridiculous. This happens to me all the time. It's annoying. But yeah, um, um, but one of the things I like about noir particularly is that kind of stripped back kind of language, and this is probably not a profound thing to say, but I kind of like how it's different in each setting. Like American noir is very different than like UK noir. I
Mm.
find like UK noir is like even like sometimes anyway from what I've seen on like TV can be like even nastier than even American noir can be. And I mean,
Yeah.
we got James Ellroy over here, so I mean, he's pretty crazy, but
There's a bit of a romanticism to the American
yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
crime stuff. It isn't there's no sentimentality to the British one, I don't think.
yeah, no, I mean, we have like the Philip Marlowe type, like the kind of
Yeah.
what was it? I think it was Frank Miller who said the knight in dirty armor.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. But funnily enough, it's very much like A.B. Patterson's character, Harry Kenmare. He's very like that.
oh yeah, or
Yeah.
I'll probably like it, but but yeah, in the UK, it's like no, people are just, they'll shoot a guy in the or well, it's harder to get guns over there, so you'll get like stabbed in the face.
Yeah.
You're just done.
Yeah.
Or I'll watch like Train Spotting. Like Train Spotting is a disgusting ass movie to watch. Like the cinematography is grainy and like
Yeah. Yeah.
there's that toilet sequence. You're like, God, that's gnarly. Though there's also that like hint of the surreal, which that's why I always liked it more than Requiem for a Dream personally for talking like junkie movies because like there's that bait and switch where it's like, oh, this seems kind of alluring, and then it's like, oh no, this is bad. This is really
Yeah.
bad.
I think that was a good point that Trendspotting made was that people wouldn't necessarily do that sort of thing because it wasn't in some way fun or giving them something.
Uh-huh.
It kind of shows why people would get into that and how that would happen, and why it would lead them where it leads them. Was I think Requiem is all it's all a warning, isn't it?
Look
Requiem
how
is
dark this is.
yeah, Yeah, like they're doing the drugs purely to escape how miserable their lives are already, and then their lives just become more miserable. There's not kind of a
Which nothing wrong with Requiem, by the way. It's a good film. But it's um, yeah, I think Train Spotting kind of blows it away in terms of junkie movies. I mean, I'm
yeah.
sure there's other ones, but like I'm not like a connoisseur of junkie films, personally
Uh,
speaking.
they're not, yeah, they're not characters you want to hang out that much with, are they? So it's quite tough to tell a story about them.
Yeah, no, yeah, but it's yeah, kind of. I mean, I have Get Carter over here. I haven't watched it yet, but yeah, no, it's kind of funny. Dennis, I don't know if you ever watched the Trailers from Hell YouTube channel, but it's basically
I've seen it.
a
Yeah,
lot of
I've
like
seen a couple of things
famous
on that.
people, like John Landis has been on there a bunch of times, and Dennis Lehane's been on there a couple times, and
Yeah,
bunch of people. Like Patton Oswalt's been on there a few times, and they basically just kind of talk about movies and whatnot. And he did one for like the French Connection, and he also did one for Get Carter. And he kind of mentioned that, but what you said, there's not a lot of sentimentality in UK noir.
no,
But what I kind of find fascinating about noir again is like it is kind of different wherever you're at. Again, I kind of find UK noir is much different than American, and there's also like Scandinavian, which Scandinavian
yeah,
noir is like a whole other thing, where it's kind of
it's
I don't
very
know what you
bleak.
think about that, but
All the Scandinavian type, what the type crime stuff,
no,
and
just like how I think noir is different from which side of the pond you're at. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's similar with a lot of things, really, isn't it? Is
Mm-hmm.
that it'll have its own flavor of the place that it's from. It'll fit that genre,
Mm-hmm.
but it should be carrying something of the mood, of the culture, of the people that are making it. I think, even if that's accidental and they don't know it, it's just baked in there. It's just in the ingredients, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think class example would be Get Carter.
Mm.
Compare that to the American remake of Get Carter. It's a very different film.
Oh boy. I was trying to look for Get Carter, the Kane version, a few years ago, and
Yeah,
I was at a local. We have a thing called Half Price Books, which is kind of like a classier thrift store, basically. But you get a bunch of like
yeah.
old stuff. You can sell stuff to them, and they'll resell it. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna see if they have Get Carter, and I found a Get Carter, but it was the Stallone Get Carter. I'm like, well, this is bullshit. I don't want to watch this. I want to watch the Kane one. That's the one everyone says is good.
It's definitely an interesting one to watch after you've seen the original. But have you seen the Stallone one?
No.
No. Okay. Maybe watch it afterwards, and it's interesting to analyze the differences between the two of them. But it's not a good film.
No, don't get me wrong though. I do love me some Stallone.
Oh, me
I
too.
love me some Rocky. I
Yeah.
was actually rewatching Rocky
Let's
3
see.
the other day.
Rocky 3 represented right down there. You can see
Oh yeah, is that Clubber
Clubber
Lang back
and
there?
Rocky. Clubber and Rocky.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good fight.
um,
I actually
yeah,
think
I
three's
love
pretty
Stallone. I
underrated.
love
I
the
think
Rocky films.
it's a pretty good movie. Like everyone
There's,
loves like 1 and 2, and
yeah,
they're
there's
great.
not a bad, there's not a bad Rocky, is there?
Well, I thought 5 was
Really?
kind of silly, but aside from that, none of them have been
Everyone says
bad.
that, but I'm warm to five. I like five. I've got a soft spot for that.
That's fair. I mean, they do have that street fight at the end of the movie. I'm sure you like that.
Great street fight at the end. Yeah, I love that one. That was choreographed by Terry Funk, wasn't it?
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
I don't think I know who that
yeah.
is.
Oh, he's a wrestler.
Oh,
One of your WWF wrestlers.
um, yeah, it's yeah, no, you're right. There hasn't been really a bad Rocky movie. Like even the kind of sillier ones have charm. Like I think Rocky 4 has its
Absolutely.
charms.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. They've all got something, don't they? And I like that continuity of all of them and the kind of the throwbacks and the recurring lines, and you see the characters evolve. Yeah, I like them a lot.
Also have a soft spot for the Rambo movies as well.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
um, I mean,
Have you
First
read the
Blood's
book?
easily the best one. Like in hindsight, as I'm like an adult now, but like I like
Yeah.
all of them. Like they're all
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Also,
Definitely.
Rambo 4 is the fourth one. I think it's really underrated. I think it's an underrated movie.
Yeah. I agree. I think that one's excellent.
Also, the
A lot of fun
violence
with
in
that.
it is just gloriously graphic.
Yeah. It is, isn't it?
Like the
He
sequence
had a point
where
to make
the
there.
final battle sequence where he just like is leaning up and you're like, oh shit, and he just chops the dude's head off in one
Yeah.
swing. I'm like, yo, that is crazy. How did they get away
that
with that?
that seemed to be to me
That's like peak
because I
Rambo
remember,
right there.
yeah, there was a lot of horrible stuff that was first sort of getting exposed at that time on the internet. There was lots of, I remember like horrific like hostage videos and things that were
Hmm.
just like leaking out and people were sharing them. And I think that was his response to that. He was basically saying, Stalin's going, there's horrible corners of the world where horrible stuff goes on, and this is what it kind of looks like. You
Hmm.
know, I think he very much had a point to make. I think he has a point to make in all of the Rambo films,
Yeah, I mean,
except maybe three.
yeah, no, Rambo 3 is very much a product of its time. We'll just
Yeah,
say. Um, Although I still like it. I like
yeah.
him and I'm forgetting I think that the character's called Troutman, I think, but I'm forgetting the actor's
Oh,
name.
Richard Crenna.
Yeah, Krenna. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Um. I also like Copland. That's a really underrated movie. I think
Yep.
I was talking about it the other day. I think you liked my post where I was talking about it the other day. But that's a really
Yeah.
good movie. Like,
Yeah.
um, Stallone is
Modern
really
Western.
great in that. Wish he
Yeah,
did
he
more
is.
stuff
Yeah,
like that.
totally understand. Well, it wasn't successful, was it? So he put in all this effort. He sacrificed his body, sort of let himself get flabby and made all this effort. And they got all these stars in to do this movie with him. And it kind of flopped for some reason. I don't know why. And then kind of he got loads of like praise from critics for it. But because it didn't make any money, he never went anywhere with that sort of thing.
It sucks.
Yeah.
I think Sly is a good actor when he kind of when he lets himself be. Everyone remembers the First Blood ending.
Yeah.
Um, but there's some really great stuff in Copland, and
Yeah.
also great Ray Liotta. I think it's my favorite Liotta that isn't Goodfellas.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so too, actually. Yeah. He was very good in that. He was very similar to his Goodfellas character, I thought.
Yeah,
But with a redemption arc
where he's kind of
rather than
coked out of his mind the whole time. He's
yeah.
like,
Like, we need a sweaty cokehead. I know. I know a guy
Ray
just did
Liotta,
that
I got
really
him.
well for like an hour at the end of Goodfellas there.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, Goodfellas was one of your picks, actually. I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I still need to read Wise Guy, the actual book that's based on.
Yeah,
Have
I've
you
never
read
read
it?
that
Is it any
either.
good?
I've never read it myself,
Oh, you
no.
know? Oh, okay. Well, I was like, I
I've
know
never
this.
seen it anywhere either.
I know
I
the
don't know how
story just
readily
from.
available it is here.
Yeah, I just know the story from like pop culture osmosis.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how accurate it is to the original, not story as such, but the truth.
I mean, from what I've heard, it's pretty close for the most part. Though,
Yeah.
Tommy was even more crazy in real life than he was in the movie.
Yeah.
Because reality is a strange thing.
Yeah.
There's that old saying from Mark Twain. It's like fiction needs plausibility, reality don't.
Yeah, that's quite true. Yeah, it would have been hard for an audience to accept because he was bad enough, wasn't he?
Hmm.
So if you made him worse, it would have been hard for an audience to accept the reality that he was allowed to operate because he would have just seemed like too much of a liability, wouldn't he?
Apparently in Casino, like the guy who Pesci played, he actually looked a lot like the part because the guy was actually super
Really?
short in real life. So I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So
And you get that sometimes. You get those little nasty little guys. I've met a few of them.
then again, I'm kind of fascinated with like mafia history, so I kind of know about this stuff a little bit.
Yeah.
I like that stuff. Well, not like it, but it's interesting to read about.
Absolutely. It is interesting. It's interesting to see where these things come from and what these real characters were like.
Yeah, but yeah, going back to Sly, yeah, he's done some. Yeah, I kind of wish he did more stuff like Copland, but we still got
Mm.
Copland.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I
mean,
can't
going up
think of
against
it.
Robert De Niro and doing a pretty good job, like that's a flex, man. That's all I gotta
Yeah,
say.
definitely. Yeah. I mean, maybe he's still got one of those movies in him to come.
Hopefully,
Never know.
he's also good in the
Yeah.
Rocky movies too. I mean, I know he's kind of playing a version of himself, but like I think in Rocky Balboa particularly, he's really good in
Yeah.
that. Like he's
Oh
really,
yeah.
um, he's very like he does the whole like old dude who's kind of not sure what to do with it. I mean, I guess that's maybe he was feeling that way in his life, but
Yeah, I think he
uh,
does channel his real experience, his real life experiences through Rocky, doesn't he?
but I think it's still really good. Him kind of going like, well, what am I gonna do now? I'm old as shit.
Yeah.
But
I
then
think that's where sometimes like the real best art comes from, is not from just being able to pretend, but actually being able to channel stuff that
mm,
you've personally felt and experienced, and put it out there. And that's the difference between sort of real art and the stuff that is sometimes sort of forced upon us.
yeah, it's funny. I'll put it this way. I've never really liked sanitized stuff.
Yeah,
Like I which a hot dose of hell. You were I kind of feel like you were. It's kind of a middle finger to like social justice types, basically. Partly that, but it's
yeah, yeah. That
um
is part of it, definitely.
but it's again, I'm trying to save my thoughts for a hot dose of hell for a potential conversation about it. But anyway,
Okay.
but I also feel it's kind of like I feel you're the same way. You don't like stuff that's like sanitized.
No, I don't like stuff that is sort of forced to conform to an ideology or something, rather than just being what it is. You know, and I think you really feel that with a lot of stuff. I mean, sometimes like a propaganda thing can be quite entertaining. We were just talking about Rambo.
Yeah.
Now, like Rambo 2 and 3, but I didn't feel like when I watched those, I feel like those films were accidentally, they were embraced after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Like Rambo 2 was embraced by Reagan or whatever, wasn't
Mm-hmm.
it? But it was after the fact. And I think if the government had been involved, they would have been like, oh, you can't show the government to be bad
Mm-hmm.
in this. Because the bad guys were the guys who left Rambo out there. They found out they were POWs and they didn't want to know.
Mm-hmm.
They strand him, don't they? They don't want to help the boys. Now, if the government had been involved in the making of that film, they would have said, you can't show us that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
wouldn't have liked that, would they? So that was accidentally pro American forces propaganda, but really it was born out of the fact that Rambo is the hero and he's a good guy. It wasn't actually pro the American military or CIA or whatever. It actually sort of paints them in kind of a bad light. They were leaving their guys out there to die and be tortured.
Yeah. No. Like the point of the first two Rambo movies are kind of like, yo, Vietnam vets, man, we got kind of screwed over after the war was over. Which,
Absolutely got a raw deal, didn't they? Yeah.
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 Which is true. They definitely did. I'm not.
Yeah.
Um. It's kind of interesting. I'm actually gonna. I know you're a massive admirer of James Ellroy. I'm actually gonna read a American Tabloid soon. Well, in a few months from now. But it's I don't know if you read American Tabloid, but that's
No.
it's kind of his epic about America, basically, and it's kind of dealing
Right.
with not necessarily Vietnam War vets are screwed over, but kind of that era where people think like America kind of lost itself,
Yeah.
and James Ellroy is kind of going like, well, not really. We never really had a itself to begin with. Ha ha ha. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. But anyway, um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But um, I forgot what my
Yeah.
point was. But
Sorry. Yeah. I derailed us there. So we were talking about how like don't like being told what to think as such,
yeah, yeah.
and that's what the characters, the activist characters, were all about in Hot Dose of Hell. They were my reaction to sort of feeling that from every angle. I was the city I was living in was very much a uni
Oh boy.
city, and sometimes you just get some ridiculous things. You'd have like and some of it is based on my experience of having dealt with some very difficult people, like with dealing with the homeless addicts, and then some of the kind of really silly, naive ideas that these studenty types might have about them,
Yeah.
and some of the experiences that I observed, you know,
I've mostly
They're
ran
kind
into
of
like
like,
obnoxious like social justice types on like the internet. That just seems like where they
oh
all
yeah,
flock to, you know?
yeah, they're everywhere, aren't they? Yeah, so it was a little bit of that as well. But I wasn't very prior to making the book. I'm very much not an internet person. I would
Uh-huh.
use the internet to watch movies. I
Yeah.
wasn't on any social media. I wasn't privy to any of this stuff. But yeah, I just felt it from like meeting certain people, the kind of like being in the nighttime culture, and then meeting student types with those kind of strange attitudes or those strange ideas that don't really hold up to real life. And a lot of them are very privileged,
Uh-huh.
and they're going to be the people who are going to occupy, quite high positions in our society. Once they
Yeah, and you're just
finish their
like, God,
education, they're going to be politicians and things like that, and they haven't got a clue what they're talking about. So I wanted to take some people like that and show them a bit of reality in the way that I saw it before I then sort of crank up the horror side of things.
yeah. I yeah, it's I mean, I there were parts of this where I'm like, really? Like, I don't know. But I have met some super obnoxious like social justice types. So I'm like, it's
Oh
not.
yeah,
There's some of it that's not too far off. Like, there's that part where they're talking about Morrissey, and
yeah,
I'll in defense, I will say I've heard Morrissey is kind of a piece of work, but nonetheless, I have heard people who kind of go like, especially on YouTube, who are like, "Yo, this guy's kind of problematic." I'm just like, "Oh my god, can we just listen
yeah,
to the fucking music, please? Like, I don't want to
yeah.
know this."
I
Like,
think he's made a couple of statements about, like nationalistic statements
oh yeah,
and things that he doesn't agree with certain stuff, which he's very much speaking for a massive amount of the population there. It's not like a niche
well, sure, yeah.
opinion, but he gets chastised for it because he's part of the media elite. And
Mhm.
you hear this happening all the time, don't you? You hear like
Yeah.
some celebrity or something that is embraced by like hipsters, and then they suddenly hear they've got an opinion that they don't 100% agree with, and they're cast out. And that has happened with Morrissey. I think Morrissey has got very strong opinions, and I
Oh,
think he's
sure, yeah.
probably quite a difficult man. And as much as I'm personally a huge fan of him. I watched him in Birmingham a couple of years ago for my birthday.
They
Um,
have the like vegan hot dogs or whatever over there. Because I've heard he
didn't
won't. I've
I've
heard I've heard he
no.
won't like play stuff if it has like meat or whatnot.
Oh
But
yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, because like obviously the Smiths album was "Meat Is Murder," wasn't it? And
meat
like,
is murder.
I'm
I've not
did
heard
you
it.
not know that? Yeah, that was one of their albums, and that was a song. But I don't tend to agree with that. Sorry, Morrissey. I like to eat meat, but do. I'm still a fan of his music very much.
I mean,
Um,
I don't have a dog in the fight. I haven't listened to a lot of the Smiths, but
Oh, you should, mate. It's good stuff. Listen to the Smiths and listen to Morrissey as well. He's making songs about stuff that people just even now that people don't have the balls to talk about. Like he's done a song about the Manchester Arena bombing,
oh
right?
man,
And it's intense. It's an intense song. It's very powerful. They probably never. I think it got him kicked off his record
oh
label, if I
wow.
remember rightly. But he's always been like that. He's always been able to do songs about like challenging, difficult, hard to deal with stuff. If you look
Hmm.
at a lot of his songs, a lot of his songs are
I
about
might
like,
appreciate Morrissey that. I don't know if I'd probably get into a fight with him if we met, but
I think
I
I
think I'd
think anyone
appreciate his
would.
art though.
Yeah, I think anyone probably would. I think he's a difficult person. Probably, I
It's
don't
like
think he'd
Roger
like me very
Waters. Like,
much.
do you like Pink Floyd at all? It's like Roger Waters.
Not hugely, actually. I don't.
Oh
I
no.
like
Oh okay.
the odd song, but I'm not a big Pink Floyd man.
Oh okay. Well, Roger Waters is kind of a massive pain in the ass, but brilliant
Yeah,
songwriter.
yeah. And I think we should allow them to be that.
That's true. Yeah.
I think I think when
He
people
earned his
are
dues,
forced.
man. Let him be a grumpy old man.
Yeah, yeah, let them express themselves as well. They're talking to somebody, like somebody feels that way, and yeah, I don't know. It's like there's only certain opinions are approved, and there's obviously things that most people 100% agree on, but there's other stuff that's like we can all have a different opinion, you know,
Yeah.
and we have our opinion formed on our life experiences, and that's where your opinion should be formed, not from what you're told on the internet. Your opinion should be formed from what you personally have perceived and experienced, because then it can't be argued with.
Yeah, no,
You know,
it's
you can't. You have to say that this is why I experienced. This is why I don't like this thing, or this is why I experienced. This is why I support this thing.
yeah, no, it's funny, you know. Like I was hoping to talk about this with you because last night actually I was just kind of getting annoyed. I'm like, these fucking people, they can't think for themselves, man. You know, like
Yeah,
it's I don't know, it's a weird thing.
yeah, yeah. What's funny is I worked in, like I said, the type of job I worked in, and the type of people I worked with. You can imagine aren't necessarily, in some cases, the most enlightened and open-minded of people. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you're talking about back then. It was guys who were paid literally to be. You got if someone are kicking off in here, or you don't want, or we don't want someone in here. You got to beat them up. That
Oh.
was your qualification for the job. You got to beat them up and get them out of the building.
Mm-hmm.
That was what a lot of bouncers were employed for. So what their personal, political, or religious opinions were didn't matter really. Do you know what
Inconsequential.
I mean? There wasn't like a test for like some sort of purity of like, what kind of attitudes you had. So I would be hanging out with some people who had some very interesting attitudes about things. But what's funny is that they were also 9 times out of 10 the most tolerant people you're ever going to meet for people having different opinions.
Yeah, no,
And there were
it's.
people who could physically beat you up if they wanted to. They could
Mm-hmm.
do whatever they, do you know what I mean? They could be like, I don't like that opinion, I'm going to kick your ass. And they wouldn't have that attitude. They would just be like, all right, interesting that you see it that way. I disagree, but okay.
Yeah, I remember I was talking with my friend Joe Byrne. It's funny, I actually talked with him yesterday about one of his books. But anyway, I was talking with him the other day, or this was a few months ago. I think it was on my podcast actually, where I was
Yeah,
because he's also big into like martial arts and stuff like that, and a lot of his books have like fight scenes in them. But anyway, he was telling me how like a lot of the like super like tough dudes who like can beat ass, like they're generally like pretty relaxed for the most, like the genuine like tough dudes, they're generally relaxed for the most part because like
yeah.
they don't need to prove it, they know it already that they can you know take you
They've
down.
also they've also got an awareness of how easily you can hurt someone and how easily you can be hurt. They've got more of an understanding of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They've been in, if they haven't been hurt in a real fight, they've been hurt sparring.
Mm-hmm.
So they know that like if you're going into a fight, you are putting yourself actually on the line. This isn't cartoon stuff. You could get hurt and you could hurt the other person. So if you're going to do it, there's got to be a good reason to do it. And 9 times out of 10, there isn't a good reason to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You can just talk about it and sort it out, really.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm sure there are Begbies that exist,
Oh,
but
yeah, I've met some Begbies, mate. Yeah,
who are
absolutely.
just fucking crazy and love the
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
no,
guys who
my
kick
dad
off
has
for the fun
known
of it.
my dad has known
Absolutely.
I have not known a few Begbies, but my dad has known a few Begbies who are just fucking
Yeah,
crazy,
yeah.
um,
No,
and
I
just love to
absolutely have known
fight.
a few. I'll tell you some stories later if you like, when we're
um,
off. But
um,
yeah, I've known quite a few.
um,
Um,
but yeah, like I don't know. There's like that. There's like but I don't know. I've heard like the like super like real tough dudes like they know it already, so they don't need to like prove
yeah,
it. Even though
yeah,
there are Begbies out there who just love this fight for whatever reason.
yeah. They just got that berserker gene. I think that's the
Yeah,
problem with some of those guys. They need,
like Bronson, like Charles Bronson.
yeah,
He's just fucking
Bronson.
crazy.
Yeah, he should have been some kind of a warrior. Basically, they didn't put him in the right. Someone should have got hold of him and put him in the right place. But they couldn't. They couldn't figure out what to do with him. I mean, he's nearly 80 now, and he's still locked up in solitary. For God's sake, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
no,
ridiculous.
it's funny. I remember when I watched Bronson for the first time, and I was telling my mom about it, and she's like, "God, he sounds like fucking. He sounds like he must have gotten like beaten and molested when he was a kid." And I'm like, "No, like he came from
Yeah,
like a good
pretty
family
nice
from all
family. Yeah,
accounts. He's just fucking crazy for whatever reason."
yeah, yeah,
I've known people like that who are just like, I knew a guy, he said he was addicted to rage, but really he had like a thing called like intermittent explosive disorder, which is like it's a real thing.
yeah.
Um, where it's like when you get angry, you can't stop, like you
You're
just,
not Scottish.
yeah, no, yeah.
Well, that's cool being Scottish. I say that. as someone whose family are mostly Scottish.
Yeah, no, it's funny. But yeah, no, there's just those people out there who are just fucking crazy for whatever reason. Don't know
Yeah,
why.
yeah, there are, and then there are like bullies who they aren't really that, but they pretend to be that. And Begbie sort of seems to flip between that and being proper
Mm-hmm.
psychopath. Yeah, there's times where Begbie is literally just the bully, isn't he? And there's
Mm-hmm.
times
Yeah.
where he's actual, yeah, actually not. No,
Yeah,
I've met all kinds and I've seen all kinds, and
I've met
yeah,
more like Rentons and like sick boys in my
yeah,
life than because I've known some like shady characters. Of course,
yeah,
in high school, I met like some dudes who are just fucking weird, or
yeah,
like dudes who like dealt drugs and stuff. I mean, I wasn't
yeah,
like friends with them, but I knew them, and
yeah, yeah.
they're just crazy.
Uh,
Or like the sick boy type who like sets off these schemes to, like rip people off. You're just like, oh man, I've known people like that.
yeah,
The
yeah.
one of
Interesting
my
characters, mate.
one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when Renton and them is shooting the airsoft rifle, and
Oh, with the dog.
yeah, the dog. And Renton is meeting up with Sick Boy, and he's all like, "Yeah, fuck that fucking Sick Boy. He just quit drugs to show that he could do it and piss me off." And I'm just
Yeah.
like, "That's great. That's fantastic. I love that." There's sometimes that
That's
type of pettiness is hilarious.
yeah. That's a good depiction of your friends being your worst enemies. That isn't it? I have to admit, like at times I remember like I was kind of bad for this in a way because like the type of job that I was in, being on the doors and that is not
Mm.
it's not ideal long term. And I stayed in it for a very long time. I did it for like 12 years. I was in security for 15 years. And my friends would come and go, and I'd always kind of be a little bit disappointed in them when they would leave and settle down and start living like a normal life. I'd always be like, you sucker, like I'd love at the time. I like wanted my friend back with me, and I'd want their relationship to fall apart so they come back and work at the clubs with me.
So I mean, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but like, do you have like genuine like fighting experience, or were you just like big and you knew how to like throw people out, as a
Oh
bouncer?
yeah, well I did do martial arts. Yeah, I trained
Oh,
at
okay.
a martial arts gym for a few years, sort of like it's kind of semi full time really, because I had all that time on my hands. I was only working a few nights a week,
Mm.
and I started doing that when I was at college, which is probably still technically high school in the US. You leave high school at 18?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we leave high school at 16,
Oh.
and what we call college is still your high school.
Oh.
So yeah, yeah, yeah. So then university is what you guys call college. That's what we have
Yeah,
as
yeah, yeah.
university here. So I was at college and I was starting to do that and working on the bars at the same time. And yeah, so I did a few things, and then you'd meet people who did other stuff, and you train with them. You'd be working on the door with someone and be like, all right, let's do some sparring sessions and let's figure some stuff out and see what we can learn from each other.
Mm.
And then you'd go and you'd sort of revisit situations that had happened and think about how you might have been able to deal with it quicker or opportunities that you could have had within it.
Yeah, no, I was curious because as a bouncer, I mean, I imagine you would have to know somewhat how to fight, at least how
Oh,
to
that's the
scrap.
requisite. Yeah, yeah. When I started, that was the requisite. I mean, there were guys who
But
didn't
at
necessarily train, but they knew how to fight.
but
They were just
at the same
guys.
time, it's like, well, I mean, it doesn't seem that difficult, like taking drunk people and throwing them out, but it might, yeah. Sometimes they get violent.
Yeah, you're thinking like you're forgetting about like coked up people. You're
Oh
thinking about
God.
forgetting about like bully boys and criminals and guys who like to fight who come into a club to kick off, or a drug dealer who wants to come into your club and do what he wants to do and is basically saying you stop me, that kind of thing. Like, so you tussle with all sorts. You get like some big marine who's on leave and he's been going crazy climbing the walls and he wants to just cut loose,
Oh my
and
God.
he's going to kick off on people. You have all kinds of stuff going on. So yeah, just your average drunk person isn't a problem. That's not who you're worried about, really. The worst you've got to do with them is like, oh, come on, mate, you've had a bit too much, and you pick them up off the floor and sort of help them out and look after them a bit. But
I
The
forgot about
people
the
who want to,
drug people.
yeah, the people who want to stab you, who want to glass you. It's those
Oh
kind of
man.
people. Yeah, yeah. I've seen horrific things, mate. I've seen people like just attacked over nothing.
Yeah,
Like,
no, it's. I remember there's a guy. He was in. I've never been able to get into Sons of Anarchy personally, but
yeah,
one of the guys who's in Sons of Anarchy apparently he got glassed and he has like a what they call a Glasgow smile, so just
yeah,
like that scar on his face, just
yeah,
looks like a grin. Yeah, apparently it's like a thing over there in Scotland. Like
yeah, yeah.
you'll get
They
like
call it
jumped and
Chelsea. It's also called a Chelsea smile as well. It's yeah, but yeah, it's a thing. Yeah,
gets.
I saw someone glassed in Glasgow. Funnily
Oh
enough, I
man.
went to work there for a bit. Did like summer up there, and it was really different because I worked like small towns before, and
Mm.
small town mentality is very different to city mentality.
Yeah.
So small town mentality, when the guy kicks off, he wants to make a bit of a scene and he
Hmm.
wants to take on everyone. Um, in the city mentality, the guys come in to go for the person he's going for, and that's it. So I heard the glass smash, and I turned around and saw the guy drop, and then the guy who'd done it was already heading for the door. He
Oh no.
wasn't shouting off, he wasn't doing anything, he was just out the door. He was like, "Yeah, no problem, lads, I'm gone." Didn't want to fight the doorman, didn't want to get anything else going on. Whereas the small towns, someone will get glass, and the guy wants to stay in the bar afterwards and celebrate it with his mates. So you got to then deal with him and his five mates or whatever,
Oh
and get them
jeez.
out. Yeah, yeah.
Sounds
So
kind of
that was
chaotic, honestly.
very different kind of mindset, very different kind of behavior. So yeah,
Did you work in
yeah,
anywhere that was
interesting times.
particularly? Did you work anywhere that was particularly seedy, or did you just work at like regular type places?
Particularly CD Howe.
Oh, I mean, just like there were a bunch of like shady types who showed up and would like do drugs and want to fight and whatnot. Kind of like
Yeah,
stuff in your book, really, where it's like a bunch of
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
maybe like Fred and Pinky types. I don't know if they'd
Well,
be.
Fred and Pinky are more like the guys I work with, to be
Oh,
honest. Yeah, Fred and Pinky are more like those guys. They're kind of lovable thugs. You wouldn't want to hang out with them. You wouldn't want to invite them out for dinner. But when stuff happens, you know they're going to be on your side, and you love them for it. You know.
mm-hmm.
And I felt like that's what I was kind of trying to. I presented them as these like horrible. You're like, whoa, these guys are a bit much, aren't they? You know. But then as the story progresses, you're kind of glad for Fred and Pinky.
Yeah.
That's what I hope to achieve with most people, anyway. That's what the experience I hope people get, because
Well,
that was what I experienced. I go working on the door, and I might maybe meet some guy, and I'd be like, "He's a nasty fucker. I don't really want to be hanging around with him." But then you wind up in a situation together, and you really suddenly that guy's your best friend. You know,
yeah, no, it's.
dived in the way of someone who was going to knife you and took him out. You know, that kind of thing. So
I guess what I
kind
meant to
of that
ask,
interesting
did you ever
bond.
work at anywhere where it was like where it was kind of known for being kind of violent and shady, as people say in America?
Yeah, funnily enough, the first place I worked, that was what we were sort of chucked into. They'd just taken over this little place that was like right out in the middle of nowhere,
Oh boy.
and it was known for it attracted people from all these weird little villages, and
Mm.
it's like everyone would just come there, and everyone had like long histories, and so it would always kick off. And when I first went there, the capacity was like I think 500 at the time. You'd only get 200 in, and there weren't like young, nice, good-looking people in there. They were all kind of bit scummy.
Oh
they
boy.
were all, yeah. You'd always get fights. That was what we did. So we
You were
spent
constantly
we
like
spent about
side eyeing them, as the kids like to
yeah
say.
yeah we spent about a year cleaning that place up,
Oh
and then it
man.
got this big like expansion, turned into a 1,500 club, 1,500 person capacity.
Hmm.
Yeah, I worked that place for like 5 years in the end.
Oh man.
But the
Yeah.
first the first year, it was like guaranteed every night it was going to kick off, guaranteed, and it wasn't going to be handbags at dawn. It wasn't going to be a bit of shoving. It was going to be a proper mad brawl. You know,
Like something out of Train Spotting, where they're
yeah,
like
that
that
kind of
big bar
stuff.
fight.
Yeah, everyone kind of jumping in, and yeah, it was mental, but it was kind of fun as well.
I imagine.
It's kind of looking back on it now, I'm like, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, no, I imagine it not a boring night.
No, no, it wasn't. Yeah,
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 no, it's
interesting times. But I don't think the scene's very much like that anymore.
well, that's good. I
Yeah,
hope anyway.
exactly. It's got its pros and cons.
Yeah, no, but kind of going back to books though, and like you read a lot of indie books. You say like what are some ones that have like stuck out to you? I mean, I know you've read like Molly McCobb stuff, and I read her
Yep.
I read the first one of her zombie series that she did. I
Yeah.
quite liked it. I thought it was very propulsive. I thought.
I think the second one's even better. I'd argue
Yeah.
that the second one's even better. It continues that same story.
Mm-hmm.
It's already very invested in those characters.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to tell you where it goes, but yeah, I highly recommend. If you enjoyed the first one, keep going with that story.
Yeah, no,
Definitely.
there was only one part of that book that kind of was like, and that was kind of where she kind of explains her backstory. And I'm like, yeah, you could have done that. I even told her, I'm like, you could have done that better. She's like, yeah, I was first starting out, so I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I think we all feel that way. I think there's stuff like you've
When
read
you
Hot Dose.
dump
I
the
read that.
exposition, you're like, okay, come on, like,
Yeah, yeah. There's stuff I probably wouldn't have done that's in Hot Dose now. There's stuff where I maybe labour a point, or
hmm
maybe would have done differently. But my style, I'm always trying to condense as much as possible. I'm always trying to strip it down.
yeah, no,
Um,
Hot Does Hell moved really fast, but
yeah.
but going down to my point or my question, what are some like other ones that have kind of
Mm,
stuck out to you?
absolutely.
If
I've actually got a couple here.
because I'm still I'm still kind of dipping my toes in. And I'm more familiar
Well,
with like the
I know
fantasy.
you read this guy.
Oh yeah, that's a good book. Yeah, that's a fun one. Yeah.
That is a lot of fun. And that's got kind of a little bit of that noir kind of thing. And it's also got a bit of that 80s action
Mm-hmm.
hero thing as well. It's very pulpy. It's very
Kind of made
very
me think of
interesting.
like Reacher.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I'd say more of a kind of a hardcore than
Yeah.
Reacher. There's
Yeah.
some real nasty stuff in there, and there's sort of fun violence. So yeah,
Yeah,
highly
I
recommend
thought they were
Sledge, of
gonna.
course.
My only disappointment was I thought there would be like more like big showdowns between some of the like contestants in the labyrinth, and
Yeah.
no, it's mostly like Sledge just takes a sledgehammer and just takes care of them. Like, that kind of sucks. But I know he's kind of like this big behemoth of.
Yeah, it sets him up though, doesn't it? It's like episodic, but it also so you go, oh, this guy's going to really kick his ass now. This guy's going to be a problem for him, and then Sledge figures out a way
Mm-hmm.
round him. But I think in the next one, I think Nick has said that it's going to be a lot more challenging
Oh, that
for
should be
Sledge.
fun.
So you set him up to be unstoppable, and that's a hell of a lot of fun. That's a real thrill, every time these bad guys come along, it's like the Hulk, just smash them, and it's
I
very
also
fun.
like that he explores like the logical weaknesses as well. Like like he's
Yeah,
super big, so he can't like sneak around very well because he's this
yeah,
lumbering dude.
yeah.
So
It
he's
doesn't
kind
have
of
him doing
screwed.
like backflips and things like that. Yeah, like he's a big target. Like he's probably going to get injured, so he's got to lean in. He's got to figure out how to absorb punishment. He's had to adapt to that, hasn't he? Condition his bones and all that stuff. Which
Yeah, but Sledge
that's
is a
it.
lot
That's
of
the real
fun.
thing. So Sledge is good. I've got a couple here for you as well. So these are the Heartmouth horror series.
Oh yeah, I talked with him on Twitter. He's a heart mouth horror, I think is what he's
Yeah,
going with.
yeah. You got to get Jan on. He's a good bloke, and his books are excellent. And I just read his soon to be out one, which was probably will be out by the time this interview's come
Mm-hmm.
out. And it's amazing. It's probably one of the best indie books I've read. I'd put it up there with like Sledge and like Muscle and stuff like that. It's
Mm-hmm.
very good. Um, I could list them all day. I mean, there's like Janelle Sheikey, who I think you've had on before as well.
Yeah, I've wanted to read her books. I haven't read any of them yet, and she's
My
great. She's really nice.
really nice lady, and she's really really good writer. And I love the versatility of her stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you got like Ghost Room was like kind of like a YA horror, and it's very charming and sentimental with a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of creepiness in there. It was like perfect for what it was. But then you have something like The Clatterman, which was like an excellent 80s slasher type thing.
Mm-hmm.
With a little bit of that urban myth kind of character, a bit like a Candyman
Oh
kind of
yeah.
slasher killer. I recommend that one. And the latest one, she does like a body horror and Spider, which is really quite gross out one. My favorite of hers is still The Clatterman at the moment. I really like that a lot. But I've liked all of her books, and you just basically just pick a flavor.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've always liked the more like kind of weirder horror or like gnarlier stuff. Like
Oh well,
my favorite. Um,
you definitely get that with Jan's stuff.
I
Very
mean,
gnarly, very
It's
gruesome.
it's funny. Like I wouldn't call myself a big body horror fan, but The Thing is my favorite horror movie. Makes no sense.
Yeah, that's one of mine as well.
It's yeah. I don't know. I was
Very much
actually
one of mine.
I rewatch it every year. I try to
Yeah,
anyway. It's a great
yeah, I
movie.
like that one a lot.
Also, the commentary, the director's commentary is a hoot. Like it's just Kurt Russell and John Carpenter just acting like two drunk guys watching a movie. It's great. Just it's
That's funny.
awesome.
It's interesting. The point we were making earlier about how people used to be able to get on with people with different opinions a lot easier before all this kind of. Kurt and John Carpenter have very opposite
Mm.
political beliefs, and yet they're best buds.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
John Carpenter's great. I don't, and I mean, I'm not saying I always agree with his takes, but just the fact that I saw an old interview of him where he's just like, yeah, I think Spielberg fucking sucks, bro. And he just was like, yeah. He's like, do you like any of your contemporaries? And he's just like, no. Like, that's great. We need more of that in society today.
Yeah, just real honesty, not trying to talk crap. Yeah.
Like, there was one recently where he's like, so what do you think about this whole elevated horror thing, with like Hereditary and The Witch? And he's all like, what the fuck are you talking
Yeah.
about? Which, by the way, The Witch is an excellent movie, excellent horror movie, and I love Robert Eggers, but like, it's just so funny. He's just like, no, like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about?
I have to agree with John on that one. I can't stand that elevated horror stuff. I find it really high-faced and depressing, and it's kind of just copy. They're all just kind of copying Kubrick a little bit.
Not a fan of not a fan of Hereditary.
No, I didn't even watch that one, to be
No,
honest, mate. I didn't like the sound of it. Didn't like what I saw of the trailers. So I'm getting to that point these days. It used to be I just watch whatever came out, and it used to be that we'd go to the cinema every week because it
you
was
seem to like
cheap
the more
anyway.
like pulpier horror movies, like
Definitely, man. Yeah,
and
80s and 90s and a lot of stuff in the 70s. I'll go way back to like
like
earlier
Texas
than that as
Chainsaw
well.
Massacre. Like that's some.
Yeah, Texas Chainsaw
I,
Massacre is a great one.
that one's
That's
kind of hard for me to watch
uncomfortable
because it's
watch.
just it's kind of like Train Spotting. It's just a nasty looking movie. It's like watching
Yeah,
a Rob
it's
Zombie movie. You're just like, God, I want to
absolutely.
shower after watching it.
I remember being so shocked. I mean, there's lots of things that have copied it since, but the time I saw it, it'd been banned in this country for a while.
Oh boy.
It'd been banned for like 20 years, 20
Mm-hmm.
odd years, something like that. I think you could see it at the cinema, but you couldn't rent it or anything. And it came out on video, and I was about 15, 16. Finally got to see it, and I was just horrified by it. I was just absolutely
Yeah,
horrified because no film, I'd never seen a film that looked like that.
it's
It looked
so
like
visceral. Yeah.
what I thought of as like a snuff film. Like they just stuck the camera in front of Leatherface doing this stuff and followed him around. I thought it was like really grimy and horrible, really uncomfortable to watch. I remember like sweating while I was watching it. It's kind of tame now by the comparison of a lot of stuff
I don't
that's
know.
come
I
since.
rewatched it a few years ago and just going like, good God, that's fucking gnarly. I mean, it has aged for sure. It came out in the '70s,
Yeah,
but I think it is 50 something years old. But
yeah,
but it's like, damn, dude. Like again, it's just it's again. I mean, with Rob Zombie, I don't really love Rob Zombie's movies. I think they're kind of over the top, but they have that
yeah.
similar kind of like nasty, like I want to shower after watching this vibe.
Oh, he's hugely influenced by it, isn't he, Rob Zombie, in that sort of era? Definitely.
Yeah. I'm sure
You
you.
know,
I wouldn't be shocked if you liked Rob Zombie though.
not particularly. I
No.
quite
Oh,
like his
okay.
music. I like his music, but I don't really like his films. I especially hated his Halloween movies. They were terrible.
Yeah. No. Is
I could not
Halloween.
stand them. He had to make everyone was like this over the top. Every single character in these movies was like over the top lunatics. It's like
I
he
will say
couldn't give us a single. It didn't feel real. It was like I was saying earlier about something feeling close to reality, to
mm,
believability. And then Michael Myers was like the least crazy thing in his movie.
I will say I do have a guilty pleasure fondness of the sequence where it's just William Forsythe just acting like an absolute lunatic and yelling at Michael
Oh,
and
yeah, he's the
threatening to
bad
punch him in the
stepdad, wasn't he?
face.
Yeah, the
And
bad stepdad. I
I'm
do
just
like William Forsythe. He's great, especially when he does crazy, like in what was that Steven Seagal film? Out for Justice. Have you ever seen that one?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, he's a brilliant villain in that.
Oh,
William
I'm
Forsythe.
sure
It's
he
worth it
is.
just to watch him being this horrific character, and the fight scene he has at the end with Seagal, where Seagal does what he normally does and seems to actually properly rough up the person in the scene.
Yeah,
You know, like, he's chucking him all over this apartment. It's brilliant. Yeah, I do like him a lot.
yeah. Oh, I like him a lot in Raising Arizona. I love that film. I think
Oh, I couldn't remember that he was in that. I haven't seen that
he
one for a
play
long
him
time.
and John Goodman play these two brothers, and they're kind of like incompetent crooks, but they're Nicolas
Yeah,
Cage's friends, and they're brothers, and it's quite entertaining. But yeah, I remember him from that, and he's been in a bunch of. He played like John Wayne Gacy in one movie, and kind of looked like him too. It was really creepy. It was
oh,
like, ugh.
yeah,
Yeah, he's good. He's good like character actor. He's like those guys you get to play like the like weird creepy guy in the crime movies or like
yeah,
horror movies.
yeah, yeah. Last thing I saw him in, I think, was Boardwalk Empire.
Oh yeah, he plays the Jewish dude.
Yeah, wasn't he a
Yeah,
butcher
he was a
or something?
butcher.
Was that?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I like that character. That was a cool character. There are a few like memorable characters in that show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't, I don't actually like Boardwalk Empire as much as I like something like the Sopranos or The
same,
Shield.
same. And
As much
I
as I
tell
like
you
that
what,
period, and I'm like, I should
yeah,
love this, but I kind of feel it kind of, I don't know.
there's something missing in Boardwalk, isn't there? And
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit too bleak for one. I think it's a little bit too
Well,
bleak,
there's
and I
some great
think
performances. Like Stephen Graham as Al Capone is like that's an all
yeah.
timer. I
Although
think.
I don't know about you, I can always hear Graham's Scouse accent leaking through when he does American. I can always hear it.
I mean, I'm not British, so I
Don't
don't
hear
hear
it
it
now.
myself. But
I
yeah,
always hear it, but I do like him as an actor. But yeah, yeah, it was a good show, but it was just something. It didn't quite hit those peaks of, like you said, like The Sopranos and The Shield.
or The
And
Wire.
yeah, I think it was that sort of kind of like bleak kind of flippantness of it, where just suddenly someone would just get killed, and you'd be like, oh, it was just something. There's something unpleasant about Boardwalk.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
I can't put my finger on it.
yeah, but like certain character. I remember towards the end, it was like, what are we gonna do? Oh, let's just kill most people, wasn't it? It
I
was
thought the
like that
ending
was the way.
was like fitting. I'm like, yeah, I kind of, and it's also Steve Buscemi. He gets killed in a lot of stuff, but
He does, yeah, yeah, including The Sopranos.
yeah. James, I always thought that sequence where he gets killed in The Sopranos is kind of ridiculous. It's just like he's just like getting home from somewhere, and then James
Yeah.
Gandolfini just sneaks up on him and shoots him in the face. I'm like, how do you not hear James Gandolfini come from behind the corner, from around the corner? I've never gotten that. There's always like weird stuff like that in The Sopranos. So, I mean, I guess it
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. I suppose real life can be like that though.
That's
There's things
true.
that people achieve, and you're like, how did they do that? Yeah, he had his arm. If I remember rightly, he had his arm full of groceries, and he had his keys in his hand, and he just hears a noise and looks, and Gandolfini's there, isn't he? So yeah, no time to react.
It's funny. It was Gandolfini that actually got me into like Dennis Lehane because he was in a movie called The Drop, which was like his last movie he did
Yeah,
before he
I
passed
like
away.
I like the drop a
Um,
lot, and I
and
like the book as well. Book was very good.
Yeah, Drop's great. I think it's an underrated little crime movie. It's also where I first kind of that and like The Dark Knight Rises where I first kind of was like, oh, Tom Hardy, he's a great actor. More The
Yeah,
Drop than Dark Knight Rises, but
yeah,
yeah, he's great. It's kind of like kind of remind me of like A History of Violence, except it's not as dark as A History of Violence
yeah.
somehow.
And I like that one a lot. I like the reveal, which I won't spoil
Yeah,
for anyone watching, but
that's where I
yeah, it's
kind
a
of
very
feel
good
it kind
film.
of goes into like A History of Violence, where
Yeah, kind of understated tough guy kind
mm,
of thing. Yeah,
um, oh yeah, no,
I've watched that one a few times. It's one I do go back and revisit.
it was funny. I read a book called The Friends of Eddie Coyle recently,
Hmm.
which was a big inspiration for Lehane. And when I was reading it, I was like, dude, this is literally like I want to say it's literally The Drop because I think The Drop's a bit different, but like just the people just talking in like a working class Boston
Hmm.
neighborhood. I'm like, This is literally this is where he got the drop from.
Yeah.
Was this book? It's a good book though. Really, really good
Mm.
dialogue.
I was talking when we were talking with John. Actually, we were talking about how during around that time that the drop came out, there were quite a lot of sort of blue collar
Mm.
crime movies that were really good
Yeah,
that
it's
didn't quite get the attention they deserved really.
yeah. No, there was. I mean, I like watching crime movies, but yeah, I don't. Yeah, like I mean, Drive came out, but I'd say Drive's a bit more like stylish than the Drop. The Drop's kind of
Yeah.
gritty. I love Drive, by the way. I think it's one of the best crime films of at least this century, in my opinion. I don't know if you.
What's happened to the director Nick Wyndham Refn? He was on a nice little run.
Yeah, and also Only God Forgives is really great too. I thought that
Yeah.
it was more of like Refn's kind of weirdness was coming through, but I really dug
Yeah.
it personally. So I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know what's happened to him. What was the last thing he did?
I don't know. He did this show called Too Old to Die Young, which I tried. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on here? Like this is just and Ed Brubaker wrote it too. I don't know what it
Yeah.
was so freaking slow. I'm like, what is going on here? I
Well,
don't know.
I'd say that's the curse of a lot of modern shows now. Anyways, that they are so painfully slow. I've read that Netflix actually, and I've heard this from a lot of places, and Netflix actually makes content, and they call it content that you can watch while doing something else, which is what my wife does. My wife will have something on Netflix on her phone or a tablet while she's busying herself doing something else,
Hmm.
and they make it so that it's easy to follow if you're doing that, and that you don't even need to look at the screen. And that's why the visuals are often very static and very boring because people are
Oh,
almost
that's
treating it like a
crazy.
radio. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's if you watch some of those shows, you see it. They move at a snail's pace. Like Apple have just decided to do Cape Fear again, haven't they? Have
Oh
you seen
Lord,
this?
yeah. No, I saw a trailer to that, and why?
Yeah. What's the point? But what they've done is they've taken that
There's an
story
old
and
movie
this.
that's quite good, and then there's the Scorsese one
Yeah,
that's quite good too. Like,
yeah.
I don't,
Why do you need it? And also, why do you need it to be? I don't know how many episodes they're doing. 8, 10 episodes of it. You're like, why does this need to be a 10-hour story?
I don't know.
What are you possibly going to give us? You're going to give us nothing happens for very long periods of time, like loads of TV stuff. Like if you want to remake the movie as another movie, I don't see what you're going to change to it. But I especially don't see why you need to extend it to 10 hours. I don't know if you've read the book. The book's like 200 pages.
I've
You know, the
not, but
the film's it's a good book.
I still need to read John D. McDonald. I have a buddy of mine who
Yeah,
loves the Travis McGee books,
right.
and
I've
he's
not
always
read any of
talking
those.
about them, and I'm just like, I gotta read those. It's like,
Yeah,
and you know what we were talking about, like noir is different from different genres, but in America, there's like different versions of noir too. Like there's South noir because the South's a really weird place, just like
yeah.
Western noir style where it's basically noir and what, which I think they go well. So that's all good and dandy, but um, it's like that too. It's very strange, like New York. I always
I
say
think
New
about like
York's the
some of like Joe Lansdale's stuff. That's very is
yeah
that Southern?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Talk about an
like
underrated
cold,
show.
cold in July.
His
Uh,
Happen Leonard adaptation was really
yeah,
good. Really sad they got canceled.
yeah. I didn't. I watched. I think the first season. I thought it was all right, but I didn't get the second season for some reason. Think it's tough to get over here. But I enjoyed a lot of the Happen Leonard books as well, and I really like Cold in July,
Hmm.
the movie. That was a good movie.
You have a buddy who loves that. It's on Tubi, which is like this free kind of thing where they have a bunch of trashy
Yeah,
films on there, but there's also like there's good movies too. So that
I've I've recently discovered Tubi.
like King of New York is on there, and I'm like, oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I'm a big
Oh
fan
yeah,
of
we
that movie.
talked about that as well,
Yeah.
didn't we? Yeah.
I was like, oh, awesome. Yeah.
Have
Um,
you what was the one that Forever did? I was recommending to you. Fear City. Have you caught onto that one yet?
Oh, is that another Abel Ferrara one? No, I think that's
Yeah.
on Tubi, isn't it? I'll have to find
Oh,
that.
if it's on Tubi, I recommend watching it. It's a great trashy late night watch. That one.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I watched a movie called Marty Supreme. a few months ago, which is kind of it's funny. It kind of seems like something Abel Ferrara would have made back in the day. And what's
Yeah.
funny is he actually shows up in the movie. Like he plays like this old like gangster dude who loses his dog and like threatens Timothy Chalamet.
Right.
He's like, I want my fucking dog back, you know, and then he gets in a shootout with Penn Jillette of all people. So yeah, it's crazy. Um, it's crazy ass
Sounds a
film
bit crazy.
about pinball or not pinball. It's about table tennis. But anyway, you know, we were talking about Rocky earlier. It's kind of the anti-Rocky, you know, where Rocky is like he gets like this opportunity to fight, you know, uh,
Yeah.
Marty Supreme. The dude's basically like bullshitting and like stealing money from people to try and play ping pong with people. It's crazy. It's a crazy movie. Um, you know, we were talking about pacing. Like, I liked Marty Supreme. I thought it was a really good movie, and people were saying it's like amazing. I'm like,
Yeah.
I thought it was really good. I do think the third act was kind of long though. It's like no one knows how to flip and pace anything anymore.
Oh, absolutely not. No, I watched. Have you seen that movie, The Substance?
No, I did think about seeing it, but it looked kind of weird.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fun concept. It's been done very much before in lots of like horror stuff. You know, the idea of you taking something that's going to reward you in some way, but it's got side effects,
Mm-hmm.
and you're trading off for these side effects. You know, it's been done loads of different ways, and loads far back as like the Twilight Zone and all kinds of things. And it's like a 2.5 hour movie, and it's repetitive, it's tedious. It bored the hell out of me. It should have been a half-hour segment or 45 minutes on one of those kind of anthology shows or like an
Mm.
anthology movie, but a 2.5 hour movie, there was no need for it.
Yeah, no,
There's no need for that kind of a story.
yeah,
I
it's
didn't think anyway. Some people love it, so I'm obviously out of touch, but I just think everything is a bit too dragged out these days.
yeah, or it's too like fast, which is it's funny. It's the same thing I have with like comics, which is why Too Old to Die Young was so weird because it's like
Yeah,
Ed Brubaker is great at pacing. I don't know if you've ever read any of Ed Brubaker's. I know you read some comics, but I don't know.
yeah, yeah. I
Um,
don't think I have. Could you
he's
name some of his?
like he wrote Criminal. Like that's like the one he's most known for.
No, I didn't read that. Sorry.
It's a great series, but it's like he's really good at pacing himself. But again, like Too Old to Die Young was just flipping. I think it was Nicholas Winding Refn's fault, honestly, because when you let him off the leash, sometimes he just goes off the rails. Like,
Yeah, I mean he's a bad one for that kind of like overdoing the long still shots, isn't
yeah,
he? Like it worked in Drive because there was something being communicated there when they were
yeah, and
doing those
only God Forgives I thought was pretty
lingering
good
shots
too. But
between him and her, and they're kind of looking at each other, and you know what they're thinking, and the music's building up. But a lot of people copy that, and it makes it really tedious. I think I can think of a few times where that's been good, and I think that sort of thing was great when they did it in Drive. I think it was great when they did it at the very end. You've seen the Long Good Friday
yeah,
when they do that
yeah,
right at the end of Long Good Friday. What a brilliant moment I think that is, where the
hmm
camera's just fixed on Bob Hoskins and you can see it's like you can see everything he's thinking
mm,
at that time, and you're suffering it right there with him.
yeah.
Brilliantly done. But it's like everyone tries to do
Yeah,
that now.
or again, kind of going back to the Shield. There's that when Vic confesses at the very end of the show, and there's that minute where he's just sitting there and he's just like, "Fuck," and he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna say it." Yeah. So
Yeah,
there's a place for that. I'm not saying there isn't. It's just
yeah.
like I'm like,
It was,
God, do
it
people know
was
how to
also
pace
very
shit
much,
anymore?
yeah, it was very much earned in the Shield as well.
Yeah,
You know, you've been watching that for what's that, 8 seasons long?
I think it's 7 or 8. Yeah.
And that show was punchy and it moved, didn't it? Like that
Yeah.
the first episode. If that show had been made now, what happens at the end of that episode wouldn't have happened for 3 seasons. You
You
know,
know what's
that
funny?
moment that completely changes the show. I thought that character was going to be in the show all the way along, and it was going to be about that character trying to bring them down from the inside. And
Yeah.
that thing happens at the end of that first episode, and I was like, I am in. This is brilliant. That was actually really gutsy that they did that,
No,
and they just wouldn't do it now. That would go on for 5 seasons, and then finally it would happen.
no. What's funny
I
is
think.
I remember reading an interview of the guy who created it. His name's Sean Ryan, and he's like, I
Yeah.
don't know if I would have had him kill the guy in the first episode now if I were writing it now, but
He's wrong.
we had to sell it though, so it worked
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, that was the hook.
Yeah.
Because to just know, all right, it's going to be a cat and mouse game. He's going to be doing this, that, and the other. But it was like, oh, no, no, no. Vic's onto him,
Yeah.
and these guys are pulling no punches. That brought me into the show. Had it lingered, I might not have been as interested.
Yeah, I think what makes like The Shield fun, at least for me, because I've rewatched it a few times in recent years, and it's interesting because there are places I think it has held up mostly in terms of
Yeah,
like the storytelling. There are some places where you could definitely tell it was made in the early 2000s, and there's stuff like, man, that probably wouldn't happen now. But um, I think it still holds up mostly really well, especially in recent
yeah,
recent years with what's been going down.
yeah.
Yo, it's
I
so
think
funny the ice stuff that's going on in America right now. I can't help but think of the Shield because that's where Vic goes at the end of the show. That's like his punishment is going to ice and being like he becomes like a desk jockey and he hates it. And
I remember. It looks like he's not going to be doing that for long from the end, though, does it?
yeah,
Or he's going to be doing it his own way. The way
yeah.
he picks up his gun and leaves the office, you're like, he's going to be up to something. He's not going to just take it like
I
this.
was about
He's
to
not
say
going to be.
he's gonna cause trouble. That's what he's always
Yeah,
done. Why
yeah,
expect him to change now? You know.
yeah, yeah.
But
I don't think they'd be able to make a show like that without the moralizing.
yeah.
They just got to moralize everything nowadays, haven't they? They got to hit you over the head, not just with a moral, but with their specific moral. Unfortunately,
Yeah, I remember watching this. I remember there's this guy I'm forgetting his name at the moment, but he's done like analysis of cop shows, and it's
yeah,
called like analyzing propaganda or stuff like that.
yeah,
And he did The Wire. He did We Own This City, which is another David Simon show, which is basically his version of The Shield.
right,
Um, he also did The Shield, and he kind of talked about it, and he was like, well, it's really admirable that at that time they were willing to go like, yeah, sometimes cops just like when you put them that close to the action, like they'll get ensnared into it. But he was also talking about like, well, all these like corrupt cops get this nuance and whatnot, but like there's these like other people who don't, and I'm like, I just shook my head, and I'm like, that's not what the show was about.
yeah.
you
Missed the
know?
point.
Yeah, just that line from Roger Ebert where he's like, don't criticize a show for don't criticize a movie for what it is not doing. You
Yeah,
know
what it's not even attempting to do, what it's not
exactly.
interested in doing. The show's called The Shield. It's not called The Other People. It's not called The Criminals.
It's not
It's called
called
The
the
Shield.
black people that Vic and crew beat
Yeah.
up. You know.
No, I agree. Yeah, it's a good show, and I like that it gave you that kind of like the same thing that Sopranos did, where you could watch it and you would be sometimes on Tony's side, sometimes you'd be like, "Wow, what an asshole!" And like the same thing with Vic Mackey, you sometimes you'd be totally on his side because he would do things
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
needed to be done. Sometimes, that first episode
That's the
where
thing I like about
he
the
beats the
Shield.
confession out of the guys who abducted the girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That first episode, and you're like, I like this guy, but then he
Shoots this other cop
someone
in the face. Yeah.
shoots someone at the end of the episode, and you're like, oh, I feel conflicted now. This is interesting.
Yeah. No, it's yeah. I think what's so fun about the Shield is, at least to me, it's kind of. And it's funny. There's these reviews I read of them that are really good. It's from this site called The Salute, and they're also big James Ellroy fans. And it's kind of interesting comparing and contrasting like James Ellroy, especially like the L.A. quartet that he did.
Oh yeah, it feels like a modernization of
Yeah,
Ellroy, doesn't it?
I've even kind of gone like, yo, Vic is basically like if Bud White was evil, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah.
And
But I
if
do, I do like that thing of him not necessarily knowing he's evil and him
no, 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 no,
doing
no,
the right thing a lot of the time.
I mean
I like that.
that's kind of thing with like Vic Mackey. Like I don't think he's like a sociopath or anything. He's so
No.
convinced that he's right,
Yeah,
and he doesn't want to think about it. He's always running away from
yeah.
you know. I think that's
And
what's neat.
you can see their argument as well. You can see with
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
you can totally see why someone would feel the
And
way
sometimes it
he
is
does.
effective. You see in the show,
Yeah,
sometimes it is effective, and I don't think
yeah.
you could do that today. I really don't.
No, they wouldn't dare to do it today. They would have to make Vicky. They would have
Vicky,
to make him.
Vicky boy, my boy.
They would have to make him ineffective and have Claudette constantly lecturing him and winning the argument. It was Claudette, wasn't it?
Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah, yeah. Not
yeah,
at
yeah,
the end of the show where it feels earned, where she's all like,
yeah, where she's been after him the whole time and
and then
finally
she,
kind of nails him, and she's gone back and forth on him throughout
yeah,
the show because you have to learn to work with people, don't you? You know, so yeah, they would have had that happen all the time, and they would have just made the show about her, and it wouldn't have had, he would have been a minor character. They wouldn't
even
have, wouldn't do it now.
yeah, even
They
then
just
with
wouldn't.
like even the Wire, they show like sometimes people just do stuff. Sometimes the cops will break the rules per se because there's no
Yeah,
other choice in that case. You have to.
yeah,
It's a bit more critical of that attitude, but it shows like sometimes the rules are just so like, or the bureaucracy or whatever you want to call it is like getting in their way all the time. They just get so
it's like
frustrated they have to break the rules in order to do their frickin' jobs.
yeah, it's like the Dirty Harry thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I kind of feel The Shield is kind of an extension of that kind of Dirty Harry type of cop movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a bit more challenging in that Vic isn't always in the right and he's out for himself. But like, I don't know if you were working in a job where you could likely get killed at any time, like he could,
Hmm.
and you know at the end of it you're going to get a mediocre pension. Say, why wouldn't you rip off those guys? You can see
Yeah, I
why
mean
he
that's
would
the whole
have that
point of The
mentality.
Shield.
Like the first couple of times that is one of his buddies has been shot or whatever's happened, he's thinking, I need to look after myself a little bit here
Hmm.
because they're not going to look after me. I can still do. You can see where the line gets, where the morality gets blurred. You can be like, right, I'm still going to look after people. I'm still going to do my job. I'm still going to catch bad guys, but I'm going to take something for myself. And it's that taking for himself that leads him down that path and gets him more and more entangled, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Leads him to worse and worse things.
Yeah,
So I
no,
think that's
it's
an interesting exploration of how a good person can do bad things. Because I think ultimately, I think he is good at his heart in lots of ways.
I yeah, it's I think I think there's a tragedy at least in The Shield, and where it's like he really could have been a good cop. He shows all the qualifications. It's just he let his selfishness kind of went out, and we got what
Yeah,
we ended up getting.
yeah.
There's other guys like Shane, who's he's just a fuck up, honestly.
Oh, totally.
He's just
Yeah.
fucking crazy.
Yeah, yeah. He's much less forgivable as well.
Yeah,
He
but
goes,
even then, there were parts where I'm like, damn it, Shane, you can like, can you just not do that? Like, you care about him, even though
yeah,
he is such an awful, like, he's fuck,
yeah.
you know. And yeah, no, it's a fun show. Probably wouldn't make it today, and
No,
it's just
no. I
it's
can't think the last good like newest show I saw. Actually, I can tell a lie. Very much under the radar show, Mr. In Between. Have you seen
yeah,
that?
no, you told me about it. I've seen like clips. I think it was like a movie first, if I remember correctly.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
I want to see that because it kind of makes me think of this other show I like called Barry. Um,
Right.
which is also what's so nice about Barry, and what kind of I think it kind of derailed a little bit in the final season a little bit, but it's just 8 episodes. They're like 30 minutes long, and they're really well paced. I'm like, oh my god, a
Yeah.
freaking well paced TV show.
That's like
it,
Mr. In
it's
Between.
a
That's
rare
exactly
fucking
like that.
commodity out here
Yeah.
today.
And you can be satisfied watching one episode as well. You feel like you got something out of that one episode. You could watch like the old days of when you watched the show once a week
Hmm.
and you got your weekly fix of that show and you were satisfied with it. It has that same thing in Mr. In Between where like you could sit down and watch one episode, half an hour long, and be happy. But if you got the time, you would watch another one.
Yeah, no, it's like compressed pacing is just out of the window nowadays,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
but even then, I went to see like the new Superman movie last year, and it's like, I liked it. It was a lot of fun, but like
Yeah.
again, the pacing was kind of weird. It was
Mm.
too quick. So it's like, can we have a nice medium of pacing
Yeah.
again? Like what happened here? I think some of these filmmakers don't know what they're doing. But
Well,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's a big thing with it. I think a lot of the creatives don't have good life experience to draw from as well.
Hmm.
And I think there's too much studio interference in a bad way. I think the people who've got those jobs aren't there necessarily on merit. I think
Mm-hmm.
they're there based on their standing in life, like what school they went to or whatever. They're not necessarily, they're not finding these, like, they're not discovering these like young punk talents like they found of like back in the 70s, you know, the Spielbergs, the Lucases, and guys like that. They're not finding
Or even like
those people.
Tarantino to a lesser extent. Like,
Scorsese, yeah, even Tarantino, guy who funded his own film. They're not many of those about, and they're not looking for people like that. They're just like, particularly over here, it's very much class based. It's very much the people who went to certain schools. You got all these like double barreled
yeah, I've heard
names with
class is a
their
big
own.
thing in the UK.
Oh, it's huge, mate. It is huge. I do like that in America. It's not. I like that a lot. I like that one of the things I like very much about the American idea is that like there isn't that snobbishness and there
Mm-hmm.
isn't that sense of control. Is very much that idea of people can raise themselves up in America,
Mm-hmm.
and that's encouraged, and that's something that they
Mm-hmm.
want people to do. It's not something here, I don't think at all.
Yeah, no, I was yeah, I'm just kind of annoyed. I'm like, and even then, I felt like I don't know if you watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
Mm,
I,
yeah.
but I just kind of felt it was a bit. I think it's one of his weaker movies, honestly. The
Oh,
ending's
really?
fun.
Yeah.
The ending's fun, but I was just kind of like, what's the point of this?
Yeah, I have a different feeling for it. I like it a lot, actually. That
Oh,
one,
really?
I like. Yeah, I enjoyed the character of. I enjoyed Brad Pitt's character very
Oh
much, and
yeah, he is kind of a
watching
pulpy
it.
character.
Yeah, I was on the edge of my seat. I enjoyed the little diversions into different areas of Hollywood and like real
Mm-hmm.
people popping up and all that. And I remember being on the edge of my seat towards the end of it,
Mm-hmm.
not knowing what was going to happen.
Yeah,
So that was
yeah,
a
the ending
real
is great. I really
real
do.
pleasing moment. And I also really enjoyed the bit at the because I remember I read a little bit about it, about the real case. So I thought Brad Pitt's character was going to be the guy who went missing on the ranch.
Mm.
So when he shows up, because I think it was a stuntman who got killed
Yeah. Oh, was it?
on
Oh,
that
I
ranch and
didn't.
went missing, and I thought that was going to be him.
Mm.
So that was a really tense scene anyway.
That was good. I mean,
But
I
with
don't think it's
that
a bad
with
movie.
that
It's
in
a
the
good
back of my
movie.
mind, I was like, this is it. He's going to be gone now. They're gonna kill him in a minute.
They're actually
So
making another one with the Brad Pitt character. David Fincher's going to direct it though.
yeah, I don't know about that. Again, a series as well, and it's for Netflix. It's like
Oh, I thought it was just a movie. I don't know. I don't know.
I thought it was a series for Netflix. I might be wrong. Maybe I'm
No,
wrong.
but I was like, okay, whatever. But I
Yeah, I think the film is fine on its own. It's not my favorite Tarantino, but it's probably maybe my third favorite. I would say.
I mean, I think those punk talents are out there, but they'd probably get like chased out of Hollywood for being like problematic or whatever nowadays.
Oh yeah, it show up in the wrong T-shirt or something. They kicked out, wouldn't they?
Yeah, he's wearing like a I don't know, like a I don't know what he
Got a
some
band T-shirt, and it's a band with a problematic opinions that someone had
yeah,
one.
like a
Yeah,
Morrissey
that kind of
T-shirt.
thing. Yeah.
No, but
So yeah, nah, it's a
I do
shame.
like S. Craig. I think S. Craig Zoller is kind of in that. I don't know if you've watched any of his movies or read any of his books, but he
Yeah, I think I've seen all three. Was it three that he's
yeah, he
done? Or
did
was it?
Brawl in Cell Block 99
Yeah,
and
Bone
Bone Tomahawk.
Tomahawk,
Yeah.
and the one with Mel Gibson. I can't remember the name of that one now.
Yeah, hold on. I actually own it. Let me see if I can find it. I think it's Dragged
Mel
Across
Gibson.
Concrete.
Yeah, yeah, they were all good. They were all good films. And then he's not done anything for a bit, has he?
Yeah, I did hear he is starting to make a new one, so a new
Okay.
movie. So we'll see how that goes. But
Yeah.
I think he kind of is in that kind of kind of pulpy type of like Don Siegel back in the day, who made like
Yeah.
um, Dirty Harry and films like that. He also made the
Yeah.
original Body Snatchers movie. Funnily enough, but
Yeah.
yeah, you're right though. It's not really like a place for that kind of director anymore, except for kind of
No. And it's the same in every industry. They're not looking for people like that at the moment. I think they're living off money from stuff that already exists that's like that.
yeah, they're kind of just sitting on their laurels, like
They just
yeah.
keep reissuing these like box sets and things like that, and recycling all those so that their mates can make their little passion projects and then tell you off for not watching them.
Yeah, no, it's
That's very much that's how I feel from over here in the UK, where we've got sponsored broadcaster ramming stuff down our throat that people are forced to pay for. That no one actually necessarily, most people don't want.
I was gonna say British have always made really interesting movies. Like The Long Good Friday, and like they made some
Yeah,
great
but
crime movies. Like
they're few and far between though. That's the thing, because there isn't that appetite for
I
it.
mean, I don't know if
They're much more
Bronson's
into
really.
like
I don't know if Bronson's really a crime film. It's more like a weird art house character study movie.
it is. Yeah, it's got a bit of a Kubrick kind of feel to it, doesn't
Yeah,
it? Bronson,
yeah,
like a Clockwork Orange kind of thing. But
yeah,
yeah, I'd still say it's a crime movie.
yeah.
It's
No,
about the psychology of that character. It's more of, but like you say, it's more of a character study.
yeah, and also just seeing Tom Hardy just go off. Like
Yeah.
I see it on Instagram everywhere, but it's the scene where he's going back and forth. You see the one side of his face, and then you see the other
Oh
side of
yeah.
his face where he's painted. And you're like, "Wow, that's crazy." I actually want
Yeah.
to see Refn's like earlier crime movies. I think it's called Pusher. I've heard those are
Oh
good.
yeah. Yeah. I've not seen those.
I think it's on Tubi actually. I'll have to find those later. But
Oh, there we go. Another
um,
plug for Tubi there.
God bless Tubi, man. It's so many. They got like the weird cult movies on there.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
even think like a Scorsese would be able to kind of be, and he's still kicking.
Yeah. I think for me, I haven't enjoyed a Scorsese movie for a long time,
Oh
and I
yeah.
used to really love Scorsese movies. I can't remember the last one I liked. You'd probably have to go back to. I quite like Bringing Out the Dead, actually, which
Mm,
was I think that was an underrated one. I thought that was interesting. It felt a bit like getting back to Taxi Driver kind of thing.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I haven't. I don't like. People are going to think I'm nuts here, but I don't like Leonardo DiCaprio very much. So when
Oh
paired up with
well.
DiCaprio, I wasn't really interested. I've watched the films that he's done with him, I think for the most part, but I don't really like him. I don't really connect with him.
Want a Django Unchained fan?
Nah, nah,
I love that movie, man. Oh man, that sucks.
that's probably
It's
that's
one of my
probably my
favorite
least.
Tarantino movies. That and like The
That
Hateful
that and
Eight.
Kill Bill, that and Kill Bill 2 are like my least favorite.
Oh well.
Those are like my
Yeah,
lowest two. I don't like them. I think
yeah.
they've
I have to be in a certain mood for Kill Bill.
yeah. I think Jackie Brown is very much underrated, and I think
I'm actually thinking about reading the book this year for that. I think
oh
it's called.
yeah,
I forget what it's called. I think it's Rum Punch.
Rum Punch. Yeah, have you read any Elmore Leonard?
I've read a good bit of his Western short stories.
Oh yeah,
I've
like
read
the
a,
Raylan stuff.
not the Raylands. I've read like 310 to Yuma and some of the other like westerns he did. I want to read
Yeah,
some of his crime novels this year. Hopefully, we'll see how that goes. But
I've read a whole bunch of them. They are good. They are really good. There's a reason that they're popular, and you can totally see the influence they had on Tarantino. There's just like pages and pages of like smart, punchy dialogue,
hmm
conversation between two people, and you're just flying through it. And it's just like back and forth, really like snappy stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm a big dialogue guy, which
yeah.
I do think Tarantino can get a little carried away with the Tarantinoisms, but I do like how I,
Which is, yeah, I think the ones he's most guilty of that would be those two. Funnily, for me, the ones that I've mentioned, the
Kill
Kill Bill
Bill.
and Django. Yeah, yeah. I think Kill Bill's
But when
terrible for it.
it works really like I really love. I don't know. We talked about this because we talked about Reservoir Dog again. We're bringing up
Yeah,
that crime movie stream a lot, but we talked about Reservoir. I like his locked in a room movies. Like
yeah.
the
That and
Hateful
the
Eight was
Hateful Eight.
great. I love that movie.
Absolutely. Yeah, and slowly cranking the pressure on the
I
characters,
didn't love how
you
he
know,
kind of tried to turn it
revealing.
into like a mini series and he like narrated over it. I'm like, go away, Tarantino, stop this. Like
Yeah,
it's
we didn't
good
need
as it
to hear his
is.
voice. We didn't need to hear that at all.
We didn't need to hear the narration. It's fine,
No, it was a bit clumsy, wasn't it? That bit. Yeah, I have to
But
admit.
great movie nonetheless. I love the Hateful Eight. But yeah, no, I do think sometimes it kind of goes overboard. But like when it's done well, like I think I don't know if you have things like this, but it's kind of like I think Pulp Fiction is like it's overrated, but it's also a great movie at the same time. If that makes sense. Like it's a like I like it. I'll sit down and watch if it's on, but I still think
Yeah,
it's a little overhyped sometimes.
I think Reservoir Dogs is the better one.
I agree. Yeah.
and I think because it's not as flashy, it gets
Hmm.
overlooked compared to Pulp Fiction, which has there's a lot more iconic stuff in Pulp Fiction. There's the dance scene. There's Bring Out the Gimp. There's the bit where they realize they've not been shot. They shoot. There's all those
And he
things.
shoots Marvin in
That-
the face on it, which is that's
Yeah,
probably my favorite scene of the movie, honestly, of that particular
there's
movie.
loads of that stuff, but there's not as much of that in Reservoir Dogs. Reservoir Dogs is a proper down and day, gritty thriller,
Yeah,
and I think because of the restrictions on the filming, he made a leaner, tighter film there,
yeah,
and it's the best in my opinion of his bunch because of that. I think sometimes limitations can be good, can't they?
yeah,
In that way, I think that's what I don't know. I think with the modern films, are they being given too much free reign to shoot all this crap that they don't then cut out, or they're too scared to cut out because it's cost money? Because you hear about loads of films and they're like director's cuts would come out years later and they'd be like, yeah, they chopped off like half an hour of the film. The director wants to put 10 minutes back in because he thinks these are really good scenes. But nowadays it's like it's all there. They don't
yeah,
they don't like cut anything out. They're like, right, this is a kids movie about a superhero dinosaur and it's 3 hours long. You're like, come on now, this should have been 90 minutes.
yeah. No, I don't get it. I don't get
Yeah.
it. But
And is
it's
it the restrictions of time where there that hasn't worked out because they've just put the whole thing out there as it is? They haven't spent as much time editing it, refining it, and shopping it around to people, or is it?
I can't even remember the last like really great movie I saw.
That's the thing, isn't it?
Actually, no,
Anytime I think
Sinners.
of something, it's something old.
I was actually
Usually,
like, no, Sinners was the last really great film I saw.
yeah,
That was a really excellent movie. Um, again, uh, I probably would have done that kind of post credit thing that he did a little differently. I think it kind of dragged out a little bit, but excellent movie overall. I really enjoyed it.
I haven't actually seen that one.
Oh, it's really good. But
I've been
anyway,
stung by too many modern films. Puts me off investing my time, you know.
yeah, no, I get you. I'm real choosy about what movies I watch nowadays.
Yeah,
I'm really thinking about because I have some of these like crime films like Get Carter and like Clute.
yeah,
I don't know if you've seen Clute, but I have that because I've wanted to
no,
see that for a long time. Think about
yeah.
just watching some of those this year because I'm
Well, they're
reading a
guaranteed
book.
to be good and they're guaranteed to be interesting because you've heard it from so many people. What's there,
Yeah.
so you can trust that. Whereas like the new stuff sometimes, and more often than not, it's a gamble. I mean, there used to be a day where you'd go to the cinema based on a poster, you wouldn't even see the trailer, and
Oh
you
yeah.
just go, "All right, I'm going to give that a go." You know, I recognise that name there. That's John Carpenter. That's okay. Let's see what this is.
Oh yeah. 28
And
years later was pretty good too. That was a really good movie. I like
I
that
haven't
one.
actually watched those yet either. I mean, funnily enough, we were talking about John earlier. John has a real hatred of that film.
28 years later.
Yeah, he really hates it. I won't say why. Yeah, I'll let him talk to you about it. Yeah, he really hated it. He was really insulted by that film.
Huh.
So
Interesting. I liked it
yeah,
a lot.
yeah.
Um. Yeah. No. Um.
But funnily enough, it's actually inspired something that me and John are going to work on together.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it
I
was
also
something I
really
was
like
working on anyway. Uh,
Alex Garland. I think I think he's great. All the stuff I've seen from him is really interesting. Um, like he
yeah.
did the Dread movie a few years, which I actually rewatched that not too long ago. It's
Oh
pretty good.
man, if only we could have gotten more of those, eh?
Oh man, yeah, no, right? Like Carl Urban was great. I
Yeah,
mean, um, um, going back to Sly, yeah, he did the original. It's
he did. Yeah.
it's
It's
kind of
kind of
funny because he kind of looks like he has the jawline for it, for
it's
Judge
because
Dredd.
they popped the mask off him. I don't know if you read any 2000 AD comics, but Judge Dredd never takes the helmet off.
Yeah, no, I've heard that. I'm actually
Yeah.
hopefully in 2027. I'm thinking about reading some Judge Dredd and seeing
Oh, definitely do. Yeah,
what
yeah.
the
I've
fuss
got
is
some of
about
that.
because I know a lot of people really love 2000 AD.
Yeah.
Or at
Read
least
the
in the UK. It's kind of a UK thing, kind of like how superheroes are our big thing in America.
yeah. Well, we had all your superhero comics over here, but then we'd also get 2000 AD, which was pretty cool actually. You'd get 3 or 4 continuous stories in every issue.
Yeah, I've heard it's like a
So you have a
magazine.
judge. Yeah, 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 and the artwork was always decent and always interesting. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
there's a lot of good 2000 AD stuff, and a lot of the guys who did 2000 AD went over to do American
hmm
comics. So that's like, I know you're a big Grant Morrison fan. That's where I believe he started in
Well, it's
2000
funny.
AD.
I'm actually doing this Morrison-a-thon thing that I'm reading this year. I'm actually trying to get a better reign of his work because I don't enjoy him as much as I like an Alan Moore or a Warren Ellis or even Garth Ennis.
Yeah,
Um,
Alan Moore's another one. I think he did a bit of stuff for 2000 AD as well.
yeah, but you know
Yeah, the
he's
epic series he never got to finish.
yeah. But I do want to read like Judge Dredd and see like, but because I know a lot of people. The only thing that will I'm kind of like because it's not colored and that's gonna kind of be weird at
Oh, you
first.
can get yeah, you can get the colored ones though.
Oh, you can't. Oh, okay. I'm thinking about just getting the case files, but I had a friend of mine who's like, okay, just get the stuff with the Brian Boland art because it's like peak Dread, and I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah, that
okay,
is good. That is the good artwork. Yeah, Brian Bolland. He again, another one. He went over to American Comics. He did Killing Joke, didn't he, with
Yeah,
Alan
he
Moore?
did. Yeah. Um,
And did he do Watchmen as well?
no, that was Dave Gibbons.
Dave Gibbons. Another 2000 AD guy was Dave Gibbons as well.
Yeah, I heard Duncan Jones, who's David Bowie's kid. Um,
Yeah.
he's trying to do a movie for one of the 2000. I think it's Rogue Trooper. I think is which one it
Oh,
is.
cool. Yeah.
Um, I still need to see Moon from him. I've heard
Oh,
that's.
Moon. Moon was great. I really liked Moon. It really showed that he could do some great stuff, and then he's never lived up to it since.
I've heard Source Code's pretty good too. I think he made
Source
that one.
Code's Source Code's okay. And then didn't he do that the Warcraft movie that no one liked? I never watched it, but
I think he did. Yeah, I haven't seen it,
yeah. And
but
then he kind of just seemed to disappear. But
I
yeah,
did. I did. You know, it's funny. We're talking about 2000 AD. I did kind of get a 2000 AD kind of vibe. I mean, I've not read much. I've only read like a little bit of like Judge Dredd, but
yeah,
um, I know it's kind of like super like punk rock, like middle finger to your face kind of type of thing.
very much so. Yeah, yeah,
Pat Mills, that guy, he's an angry man. That's
he
all I'll
is.
say.
Yeah, I like Pat Mills. Yeah, they started out with a thing called Action Comics, which eventually got banned because it was deemed excessive by the
Which is funny. I
establishment at
kind
the
of
time.
discovered that attitude from like Garth Ennis. Like I read like Preacher and like The Boys. I'm like,
Yeah,
holy shit! Like this is fucking
yeah,
intense, bro. And then
yeah,
he's like, and then he's all like, oh, I like this stuff called 2000 AD. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go. And I saw some of it. I'm like, damn, it's kind of edgy and
yeah.
like it's funny. I watched the 2000 AD documentary they made like 10 years ago,
Oh yeah, I know the
and
one you mean.
I think Alex Garland was in it actually because he's a big fan of 2000 AD, and he's
That's
like,
right. Yeah, he says 28 days later he's got a bit of a 2000 AD kind of attitude of like, let's make zombies run. That's like
yeah.
something that 2000 AD would do. Yeah,
You know, it's funny, and he's like, "Yeah, it's kind of like getting kicked in the teeth." I'm like, "Yeah, that's a good explanation, actually."
yeah, yeah. I just remember like mad stuff in the 2000 AD comics. And you get like a double page spread, um, and it would be the artist has like done someone getting like eviscerated by like a gunshot. They're absolutely getting blown apart, and you can see that they've used a paintbrush to just flick
Mhm.
blood like across the page. So you got someone being splattered across 2 pages.
Yeah,
It was crazy.
I
Very
really,
heavy metal.
yeah, no, it's, I'm kind of intrigued by it. I'm kind of nervous to read 2000
Yeah.
AD, but I'm kind of like, because I don't know how much of it's gonna age as well, but I'm hoping it does. I've heard it's,
There was a good crossover with Batman that might be a nice introduction for you.
oh yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah, Simon Bisley,
Yeah.
I think, did the art. I'll have to find that.
Basically, that's who I always think of when I think of 2000 AD.
Yeah, he also one of the other ones I want to get, which is a Pat Mills joint. It's called Slain. I kind of want to read that because it's like,
Yeah, they've just brought out a new definitive like collector's edition. It is very good. I've got it.
yeah, I'll have to
Yeah.
try that. We haven't really talked about fantasy in terms of like indie stuff because I know I don't know if you're as big into that. You seem more like a crime and horror guy, or maybe
Absolutely.
like
Yeah, I'm a crime
Conan.
and
You
horror
probably
guy.
read Conan.
Absolutely. Conan. That's my limit. That's as far as I'll go. Yeah, I'll read some Robert E. Howard. I read Solomon Kane, read Conan, but in general, I'm not a fantasy guy. It's
Like more like pulpy, like we're gonna
absolutely, yeah,
punch
pulpy
a
to the point.
punch a
Yeah, stuff,
snake in the face.
yeah, yeah. But they had to, they were selling these things to magazines, and they were having to give you a really fun story in a rich world in like, I don't know, less than 10,000 words, not
Yes,
these
that's probably what.
massive chunky things that you got to dedicate all this time to, and you're going to read 5 pages about how the ale was brewed in the tavern that they're drinking in. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
kind of
I
thing.
no, it's
So
funny,
it
but
loses me.
yeah, I kind of got that vibe from a hot dose of hell. It's like a kind of kick to the face, like get up in
Yeah,
your face, like man, fuck you, kind of. I don't know.
yeah,
That might
yeah.
sound bad. I'm
No,
not
no,
saying
I
it's
don't.
being. I'm not. That's not like he's saying like fuck you to the audience or anything. It's just
Absolutely
kind of.
not. No, I went and yeah, yeah. It's more like I sometimes have called it like a punk record in print.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
It's like a come on this mad ride.
Or like when early
That's
metal was kind of showing up, and
yeah, that kind of a thing. That's
super
the kind of
aggressive.
energy. Yeah, that's the kind of energy I want it to have for people. It's it is literally splatterpunk kind of horror. It's gritty, it's in your face, but I'm not going cheesy with it as well. I'm giving you rich characters
Not going
and
full
rich
Innis.
details, but yeah, yeah.
I feel like there's like a limit, and then there's like Garth Ennis. He's like up here, and you're like, okay,
Yeah,
as long as we
he's
don't get
pushed.
up there, we're good.
Yeah, yeah. I have pulled myself back from certain things, and there have been times where I've questioned what I've written as well, and I've been like, do I want to leave that in there or not? Yeah, but
British people,
sometimes you feel a
I guess
bit more
British people,
uncomfortable.
I guess British people are kind of. I feel like it always comes from Britain. Those kind of like super rebellious, kind of like man,
Yeah,
fuck you type of thing.
yeah. Well, I feel like very much in America, you're kind of allowed to be like that, aren't you?
Well, yeah.
Whereas over here, you're not. So when it comes out, it really comes out.
Yeah.
I I think that's the attitude, I think I'm very much that way. I'm very much that way. Very anti-authority kind of person. I cannot stand like our establishment in the slightest, and have never been it. No matter what government is in, I hate them all, and I hate the people who are making the shows, and I just can't stand any of it. It just feels like I don't know, one of those societies where there's a load of people lording it over you all the time.
Yeah,
You
no, it's not
can't even
like
switch on the TV and have a bit of escapism without the state wagging its finger in your face.
it's like,
I feel
yeah,
very
look
much
how
like that.
bad this is. And you're just like, God,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
And if you've got this opinion, you're bad.
Yeah.
And don't get any ideas above your station. You're never going to succeed. They've got a thing over here where they always a lot of our most successful sort of working class people tend to be athletes and sports stars,
hmm
and they build them up,
hmm
and then they'll come and cut the legs out from under them
Oh yeah, yeah. That's
unless
always
they
yeah.
get
That's
a bit
always
compromised, like some of them that sort of. But
kind of like
generally,
that in America too. Like they love
yeah,
building people. I think that's just like the media in
that's just a
general. They
thing.
just like to
Yeah,
like they like to
I
build
thought
people up, and then
our
like when they do something stupid, they're like, man, this guy's a piece of shit. And you're like,
yeah,
oh,
I
that's
think
not
sometimes they
fair.
do it here, even if someone didn't do anything stupid. They do it here just because they don't like them because they didn't toe the line, kind of thing.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
Morrissey, bringing it full circle
exactly. Yeah,
here.
yeah. They've gone after Morrissey. Morrissey doesn't care. He's still selling loads of records. He's still hugely popular worldwide. He's just like, oh, the English establishment doesn't like me. So what? The English establishment has never liked us.
Yeah, it's interesting, because I've talked with Aaron a few times about like the political situation in the UK. It sounds kind of
Yeah,
weird over there.
yeah, yeah. It's weird. It's weird everywhere, though, isn't it?
That's true.
It's become very, I don't know, very volatile, and it's the people in charge of the various things that have made it that way. They've tried to make people feel like you can't be friends with someone you can't tolerate someone having a different opinion to you.
That's
It's like I
always
said, like you might feel one way about a certain issue, and you go, "Well, this is because this happened to me, or that happened to me, or I knew a person who." And I'll go, "Well, I feel this way about this issue because da da da," and we can still be friends, and you can go, "I see where you're coming from. I see why you feel that way." You just get on with your life because it's not. You've got no power to do anything about it anyway. But they just want us at each other's throats all the time, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, yeah, something like that.
You know.
And then when someone tries to go like, "Hey, they're kind of turning us against each other," it just makes it worse. People just get more mad at each other. Just like,
Yeah, yeah,
guys, come on,
yeah,
you know.
definitely.
Yeah, no. But I'll ask you one last thing. Cause I'm getting hungry, and I've been
No
enjoying
worries,
this
mate.
conversation. But you know, I gotta get something to eat soon. I'm sure you have to
That's
like
cool.
go to bed or
Oh yeah,
something.
it's your lunchtime, isn't
Yeah. Um.
it?
So, what are you working on right now? Slash, I know you said you're putting out something soon. If you want to
Yeah,
describe it if you want to like pitch it, if
sure. Well,
I
it's
don't want to say you're not allowed to talk about it because you're doing it by yourself, but
yeah.
as much as you want to talk about it, you can pitch it for people who might want to know who are
Okay,
fans of
no.
Steve Stark.
So my next one's called Nice Bloody Work, and it's a gangland set revenge slasher thriller
Mm-hmm.
about a character who comes back to a small town where he had lived,
Mm-hmm.
and the certain people, the sort of the gang that were running it, still running it, and they start getting picked off after he's appeared. And it's very much like I described it before. Like anyone who knows the Long Good Friday, it's kind
Mm-hmm.
of like the Long Good Friday because it's from the perspective of the gangsters,
Mm-hmm.
and but it's also a slasher. So the Long Good Friday the 13th.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
a
Trying not to give too much away.
that's great. I like that. I'll have to pick it up whenever it comes out. Or
Yeah,
is it out
it
yet, or
should
is it coming out soon?
coming out soon. Yeah, I've got to just get the get it finalized and get the cover from my cover artist. Which by the time, because you normally hold these back for a couple months, don't you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so by the time this is out, it'll hopefully be out already.
yeah, yeah. But yeah,
So
uh,
maybe near the time, I'll send you the link so you can pop it
you know what?
down the
That's a good
bottom there.
idea. I like
Yeah,
that. But anyway, we've been going on for a while, and I am getting hungry, and I don't
no
mean to
worries, mate.
cut this off, but I'm glad we managed to get this together finally. It was well worth the wait.
Yeah, absolutely.
And hopefully I can get you on again to talk about Hot Dose of Hell, which is a pretty good book. You guys should go read it. If you want something a little different, give it a shot. It's more of a horror slash crime book than like a fantasy or sci-fi type of thing, but it's well worth it, I think. Also, some fun characters in it too.
Yeah, I'm
anyway,
glad you feel that way, mate.
anyway, uh, so yeah, if you have before I end these things, I always ask if you have any social media. Feel free to share it. It's
Yep.
you know all that fun stuff.
I'm I'm on Instagram as Stark Terror and X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, as Stark Terror 88.
Mm-hmm.
You can find me at either of those. Oh, and Goodreads as well. Although I'm not terribly active on Goodreads, I do go on there and I do update books as I'm reading them.
Mm. Yeah. Well, thank you, Steve, for hanging out with me for a while. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this, and hopefully, when this comes out, I don't know when, but it'll probably be a while. Um, yeah, this is fun. So yeah, we should do this again at some point.
Absolutely, mate.
All right. Well, until next time, hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you guys later.